What's going on, my fellow A-plusers? It is I, your Morphinominal host, as always, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode of A-Plus Morphinominal, your weekly stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Tokusatsu news and reviews right here on our YouTube page, going live on YouTube along with our main page in Facebook as well. So thank you, everybody, for certainly joining us here today. Happy Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, kicking your weekend off right. While we unfortunately don't have our brand new Dino Fury episode to review for you guys, we definitely do have a huge announcement in regards to Dino Fury in general, and a bunch of other information out of our Hasbro Q1 call, along with some great Tokusatsu news for you guys also. So great week when it comes to being a Power Ranger and Tokusatsu fans. We have a ton to certainly talk about today, but thank you very much, everybody, certainly joining us. As you can see, I am kind of in a new location. Last week we did not have an episode of A-Plus Morphinominal. I figured since Dino Fury was in fact taking its hiatus, I thought, why not take a day to myself, if you will, to go ahead and kind of recharge my batteries. And I was really keeping my fingers crossed that we would have some great information and news to certainly talk about today. And I definitely was not disappointed, as we got a ton of stuff that we're going to be breaking down for you guys. So I'm really looking forward to it. So, baby steps to getting this office put together. I think we're probably going to paint this back wall behind me here. We have a couple of ideas of some things that we're going to be doing. So yeah, just kind of looking around at this office a little bit and just trying to figure out how it's all going to come together into looking like an A-plus opinions office, if you will. So I'm really eager to go ahead and start putting it together here within the next couple of weeks. So under construction is what my background is certainly going to be like here for a little bit, guys. So hopefully you guys definitely do not mind. But thank you, everybody, for certainly joining us here today. I do know that we have some people over in the live chat that are definitely letting their voices be heard. So let's go ahead and give some shout outs here this morning to everybody that loves to support this channel on a weekly basis. Zachary, what's up, my friend? Good to see you in here, man. He says, how are all of you? Long time since I was here. Just watched Dino Fury 7 and 8, all caught up, waiting to find out if ShowClicks is where I can buy a Power Morphicon Red Ranger full weekend pass. When is the virtual PMC? Definitely go ahead and let me know, because I definitely would love to try and attend if possible. But I am glad that you all are all caught up on Dino Fury. Who else we got? We got Noah Cummings in the house. Johnny Marrero, good to see you in here also, man. Adrian Perez, tell you, a brother from another mother in here as well. We got Power Rangers Legacy. Adam, you know what time it is. It's morphin' time. Yeah, just give me a morph from my hand. If Hasbro, if you need me for anything, just let me know. I'm Handsome Dude is in the house today. We've got my name is Carl here as well. Edward Sanchez production certainly coming through. We got Dino AJ. Good to see you, AJ. You love that Dino Nights fight for your rights every weekend, man. You want me saying that. Blossom, hello. How are you doing today, L'Oreal? Good to see you. Datillo, what's up? Thank you very much. I think you just started following me this past week. He says, hello, everyone. I am new here. Well, everybody, definitely give her a warm welcome and definitely make her feel part of the family for sure. The A Games 10 is certainly in here. Good to see you, man. Thank you for, were you the one that tagged me in the Dino Fury? I believe you were the one that tagged me in the Dino Fury news. So thank you very much for the heads up in regards to that. Doomsday's in the house also. We got Ranger Class one-on-one trying to drop some knowledge on us here today. So thank you very much. Shadow Nova Productions in here as well. My boy Marcelino Vasquez. Thank you very much for certainly coming through today. We got Isaiah, the Black Ranger video, certainly coming through and making their presence felt today. And of course, we got Lupin in here. Thank you very much, Frankie. I appreciate you coming through as always. And just a heads up for those of you who are in fact wanting to know about PMC this year, the virtual Power Morphicon is going to be June 18th through the 20th. I am expecting, if anything, maybe some virtual panels. I'm pretty sure they'll have a couple of speakers here and there. I would be interested if they wind up actually having some place where you can maybe mail in a payment and they autograph photos for you and send them back. I would be curious if they even do something like that. But honestly, if you guys have never been to a Power Morphicon, start saving up your pennies now. Start breaking into your siblings' piggy bank if you need to start saving up some money for next year, because while it is a virtual con this year, I do believe next year they have plans on trying to get everybody back in person. So go get your COVID shot, break those piggy banks. I definitely hope to hopefully see everybody out there for sure. But all right, guys, listen, as we have other stragglers that wind up joining us today, definitely go ahead and certainly make them feel welcome as they wind up coming in. Real quick thing of business, because of the fact that we do want to go ahead and try and keep the lights on. If you guys do want to support the channel in other ways, you certainly can. We actually do have ourselves a Patreon page if you'd like. Patreon.com/AplusOpinions. If you're a big Power Ranger fan, or maybe if you're big into Marvel and DC, we actually have 2 YouTube channels for the price of 1 Patreon, if you will. Go ahead and check us out, patreon.com/AplusOpinions. Some great exclusive content, early access content for you guys. Also, we've got tiers from $1 to $5 to $10. However, you certainly want to go ahead and support the channel. We definitely would appreciate it, as it certainly does go a long way. Let me actually even go ahead and pull this up for you guys if you want to check it out for yourselves. Again, we do have different tiers for you to certainly choose from. The $1 tier alone not only gives you audio versions for all of our shows, but we also do on-air shout-outs, early access to our Power Ranger comic book reviews, and we also provide you with access to our Discord community, where we continue a lot of our conversations over there as well. We do plan on adding a little bit more, but we've got, again, $5, $10 tiers, everything that you guys can certainly choose from. I would definitely recommend it if you want to go ahead and check it out for yourself. And if you want to support the channel, we would certainly appreciate that. But if for some reason, if you can't support it monetarily, the other way that you certainly can go about supporting this channel, as always, hit that like button. That big thumbs up certainly does go a long way. Feel free to leave some comments at the end of our videos, and of course, subscribe to our channel as always, guys. So thank you very much. And also, one last thing before we go, you guys know we love to do live viewer questions around here. If you do have a live viewer question, feel free to go ahead and submit them over anytime during the week if you'd like to aplusmorphinominal@gmail.com. Again, aplusmorphinominal@gmail.com. You can send them throughout the week. If there's an episode of Power Rangers or Super Sentai you watch, whether there's a news article or information you hear that you want to go ahead and further discuss, we'll definitely get to all your questions at the end of our at the end of our shows, just in case if for some reason I'm not able to get to everybody's comments in the live chat or anything like that. We just want to make sure that your questions or comments definitely do get caught up on air. So let's see here. Anybody else wind up joining us here today? Sarav, what's up, Sarav? Appreciate you certainly coming through. And Datilla's actually mentioned, she says, I've been to 3 Power Morphicons, 2014, 16, and I'm assuming 18. Yes, she did correct herself, 18. I believe I was at the 2014 Power Morphicon that year. I'm trying to remember who came out. It wasn't Ninja Steel that revealed itself. That wasn't Ninja Steel. No, I don't think it was Ninja Steel that year. Maybe it was. I can't remember off the top of my head, to be perfectly honest with you. But I just remember I had some great photos, got to meet some great fans there. It was a blast. I absolutely had a blast. All right, guys. Other than that, I think that's going to wrap it up for all of our business. I think it's time to start getting into our topics, ladies and gentlemen, which I'm so eager to talk about, because our first topic up that we have to talk about here, guys, is we've been wondering for quite some time what is going to happen to Power Rangers after this Nickelodeon contract expires. As we know, the deal between Power Rangers, or I should say Nickelodeon and Saban, who previously owned Power Rangers, actually does come up here and finish its contract time in 2021. So we already knew that when it came to Dino Fury Season 1, its time with Nickelodeon was possibly going to end in 2021. I think a lot of us were maybe either expecting a renewal, something to maybe possibly come up where we get an extension or whatever the case may be. But as of this week, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a little bit of a bombshell that I think might clear it up for some of us here. So it seems as though, according to Chance Perez, who gave a wonderful interview over with iHeartRadio, huge company. They've got over 1 million followers over on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. I think they even have an office out here near the Dallas, Texas area. iHeartRadio is very well known. So it's not like Chance Perez sat down with this, not really well-known website or interview or anything like this and spilled the beans. No, this is very much on a more national scale, if you will, when it comes to iHeartRadio. But Chance Perez, in fact, revealed that when it comes to Dino Fury Season 2, they plan on moving to Netflix, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Dino Fury moving over to Netflix. Now, I've seen a couple of things online already of some people maybe backtracking some of Chance Perez's comments for him, saying maybe it was a misspeak, right? Maybe he certainly didn't mean what he said. Maybe some suggestions as to maybe he meant seasons 1 and 2 will be on Nickelodeon, but after it wraps up, it'll probably move over to Netflix. For me, when I hear what Chance Perez has to say, this certainly feels like a man that knows what he's saying, but maybe was not given the all clear to say it as of right now. Let's go ahead and actually look at the actual moment and what Chance Perez wind up saying for himself. So let me go ahead and see if I can pull this up here for you guys. We'll go over this. I will go ahead and share the audio because it's really brief, honestly. But this actually came to us. Let me see if I can. Let me pause this, start this over here. Yeah, we'll put some audio here. So this is where it originally came from, that I saw it from. Bomb dropped. Dino Fury Season 2 on Netflix. Per Chance Perez's interview with iHeartRadio, Power Rangers will be moving to Netflix for Season 2. This is the very end of the interview. As you can see, the interview itself is about 9 minutes long. This comes about 8 minutes and 30 seconds. So this is what Chance says.
What else can we look forward to from you this year?
Well, Power Rangers will be airing all year and next year. First season on Nickelodeons, and then moving over to Netflix for season 2.
See, so he clearly says it's going to be on all year, right? Seasons 1 and seasons 2. And then he mentions the idea that when it comes to the second season, it's going to be moving over to Netflix.
What else can we look forward to from you this year?
Well, Power Rangers will be airing all year and next year. First season on Nickelodeons, and then moving over to Netflix for season 2. So lots of stuff.
What else?
Yeah, it would be different. I definitely do think he meant exactly what he said when you listen to it, honestly. The idea that Dino Fury is going to be on air all this year and all next year. Season 1 airing on Netflix, season 1 airing on Nickelodeon, and then season 2 moving over to Netflix for its second season. I mean, I feel like that's as clear as it comes, honestly, when it comes to Chance Perez. So considering the fact that this guy is on the show himself, if I'm going to take anybody's word for what the move is certainly going to be, it's probably going to be Chance Perez. I've already heard some people referring to him as the Tom Holland of the Power Ranger franchise, that he's kind of given away maybe some other additional information in the past when it comes to Dino Fury. So I do think that this is legit. I also think about back in earlier, I think it was December of last year. I believe I also remember let me see if I can pull this up here for you guys. This actually came to us. This was last year. PowerRanger.com tweeted this: breaking, is Power Ranger Dino Fury coming exclusively to Netflix? According to this article, spelling error aside, it is. And this was posted December 18th, 2020. Now, Power Rangers claims that on this website here, that he went to, that Dino Fury was listed for Netflix for 2021. And then when he went back to go ahead and check it out, it was actually removed. So I am wondering if Netflix has always had Dino Fury on the mind to be on Netflix. And then maybe that announcement certainly came a lot earlier than they were expecting. And maybe that's one of the reasons why it was certainly maybe removed over off of this original article that we wind up getting back from December 18th. I believe Erlim himself, another fantastic Power Ranger YouTube, actually did a video on that as well, about the idea of Dino Fury moving over to Netflix in 2021, which would technically be a year early. But I do find it interesting that somebody did post it on an article for Netflix as to what's coming in that year, and then it was quickly removed. I am wondering if that was something that they wanted to hold off in regards to an announcement for 2022 instead. So I feel like the breadcrumbs have kind of been there for quite some time. To be perfectly honest with you, we do know that the contract for Nickelodeon does end in 2021. We haven't heard anything as to a renewal or whatever the case may be. So this feels very much like information that Hasbro has meant to sit on until they were certainly ready to make their announcement for themselves. I just think it's a case of Chance Perez maybe just getting a little bit too excited and getting ahead of himself, and maybe dropping some information that wasn't supposed supposed to come out. But I definitely do very much believe in what Chance Perez certainly is saying. I mean, who knows? Maybe the guy's wrong, but considering the fact that this information is coming from somebody directly attached to the show, he's given this interview to a very well-known organization and company, nationally, sort of thing also. So I definitely do think that this is about as legit as it certainly gets, without actually coming from Hasbro itself. So I find this really interesting, and I think this is a great opportunity for Dino Fury. Honestly, it does kind of throw me off. I don't believe we've ever had a situation where we've had a show begin, or for Power Rangers at least, begin on one channel and then actually go to another channel mid-season. I am kind of curious as to how they will go about promoting this, because I do think the idea of a change from Nickelodeon to Netflix, maybe you'll lose some viewers in the mix. Maybe some people will not be familiar or know exactly where their show was actually moving to. So that's the only thing that really worries me, is just trying to get that message out to people, the general public, to kids, that are in fact watching Power Rangers on Nickelodeon. Like, hey, I know you've been watching it here, but we are moving our channel or this show over to Netflix. So you may want to, mark your calendars also for when that certainly happens. But I do think this is a win-win situation for Power Rangers overall. The idea of just being able to get more views and more eyes on your content certainly always helps. I'm pretty sure Netflix has, I think the last time I checked, has over 200 million subscribers. I'm sure that's not only just US, but internationally as well. That's a lot of eyes on your content compared to just your cable television channel in Nickelodeon, where I know that some, apps and services do carry Nickelodeon. It's nowhere near as far as an outreach as, say, something like a Netflix, especially with their international range that they can certainly tackle. So considering the fact also that when it comes to Nickelodeon, they don't really promote Power Rangers as it is. Not to say that Netflix is any better in regards to their promotion, but with really the idea of more cable cutters continuing to grow over the years, I'm sure ratings when it comes to Nickelodeon continuing to dwindle as people wind up leaving cable services and start going with streaming providers. I think this is just the next logical step, right? Like, we currently are in these huge streaming wars, if you will. We know that there are a bunch of streaming services out there that are eager and wanting additional content. You know what I mean? So the fact of Power Rangers moving over to Netflix really doesn't come as a surprise to me at all, honestly. And I think this is just a great move, not only to get more eyes onto your product, but I do think this is just an additional sort of changing of the guard to show that, yes, Power Rangers does have a lot more that it certainly has to offer. Maybe Netflix in the future, maybe they'll also get some additional Power Ranger shows, or this just at least means that Power Rangers will be sticking hopefully more to streaming services than actual cable providers themselves. Now, I know that this is going to be a win for some people and maybe a loss for others, right? Not everybody has access to a Netflix. Not everybody wants to spend that additional 10 to 15. I don't even know how much Netflix is these days. Was it $13, maybe $14, depending on where you are? I feel like they might have just had an upgrade as of recently in regards to raising their prices, but I certainly could be wrong. But listen, when it comes to Netflix, I love a lot of their original television shows. Their original anime series tends to be pretty good. Their original movies can be a little bit hit or miss, but I honestly feel like Netflix has so much original content and additional content on there that there's always something to watch, to the point of where there's almost too much to watch. So I've continued to use my Netflix on a regular basis. It's still in my top 3 that I use. If it's not Netflix, it's probably HBO Max, and it's probably maybe Disney Plus, just because of the Disney shows that we certainly have. So if you're a Power Ranger fan, it seems as though maybe having a Netflix is going to be a must at this point in time. And I've been telling people for a while, I'm pretty sure you could probably cut your cable and maybe wind up fighting yourselves 3 or 4 different apps that'll cost maybe just the same amount of money as your cable, maybe just a little bit less if you're smart about how you do maybe some of your bundles, right? Like if Disney Plus, you can get Disney, Hulu, and ESPN for like $15 or something like that. Go get yourself a Netflix. Boom, you've got 3 accounts that you're spending for $30 or $35 already, right? So I do think that there's a plenty that you can do when it comes to streaming, that you could still get a ton of your content that you get from cable just in other streaming providers, if you if you bundle and use your money correctly. So I do think that this is certainly a win. Now, when it comes to Dino Fury in general, there are a couple of questions that I do just have when it comes to this, right? First and foremost, will the episodes be longer? I'm very much under the impression, though, that when it comes to Simon Bennett and the crew, I would not be surprised if they just continue to just tell the stories just over, like just the same way throughout the entire series, right? Like, I don't necessarily know if the idea of moving to Netflix allowed them to change anything differently from what they were already doing when it comes to Dino Fury. I would be interested to see, like, if Simon Bennett and the crew just did their entire season like it was going to air on Nickelodeon and they're just moving the episodes over to Netflix. I'm not quite sure, but I feel like as of right now, I would not be surprised if they still continue to remain about 22, 23 or 4 minutes without commercials sort of thing. I would be also interested to know if Netflix maybe even paid a little bit of extra money to have Dino Fury over there, right? Like, I wonder if that maybe boosted the budget of this season a little bit. There definitely are a lot of unanswered questions, but really the idea of how long will the episodes be? Will they be a little bit longer since you have that more creative freedom, if you will? And I will also be interested to see if they're going to be dropping this season all at once, or if it still will be episodic, right? Netflix is most notably known for dropping a lot of their shows just all at once, but they do have some shows that are currently on there. I think it's usually reality TV show based, like competitions and things like that, that might be going on a weekly basis. I think like The Circle and things like that may post new episodes on a weekly basis. So for me, I would love it if, say, Dino Fury does go over to Netflix for season 2, if like the first 3 episodes are kind of dropped all at once, and then maybe right after that we just get week to week to week, no hiatus in between. I'm for season 2 of Dino Fury, I'm not really expecting a hiatus. If you have the episodes already available, I don't understand the idea of here's 8 new episodes and then taking a break sort of thing. So I'm really hoping that that automatically cancels out any hiatuses that we certainly had to sit through when it comes to Nickelodeon. So this will be a vastly different and unique season, unlike any other when it comes to Power Rangers. But I do think that this is Hasbro just laying that groundwork of where a lot of their future Power Ranger content is certainly going to be. If it's not necessarily on Netflix, I definitely think that that means just streaming services in general. So some great stuff here this week, man. I think this is a great opportunity. If you guys don't have Netflix, if you've been on the edge of your seat debating as to whether or not you should, I think that this is a call to arms if you're a Power Ranger fans. Like, I need Netflix at this point in time. So I would definitely recommend it, and I would definitely have you check out your cable provider and see if the benefit is certainly still there anymore for you at the end of the day. But guys, listen, I want to know what some of your thoughts are when it comes to Chance Perez's comments. Again, I do think that this is legit. I do think that this is coming directly from the horse's mouth, somebody that probably knows this information, considering the fact that he's one of the stars of the show. I just think that this information probably was not supposed to go out until Hasbro was certainly ready to go ahead and announce that and make any further changes. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm curious to know what you guys think. So let me go ahead and jump into the comment section box below and see what some of the thoughts that you guys are certainly sharing in regards to this this storyline so far this week. Let's see here. Here we go. We got Doomsday says, I honestly feel like Dino Fury on Netflix exclusively will be easier to watch because ever since Hasbro bought Power Rangers, we had to wake up at 7 a.m. just to watch it at 8 a.m. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If anything, I would assume maybe they would drop brand new episodes at midnight. And then if you're ready to go ahead and check it out for yourself, midnight or 3 a.m. I think that's probably midnight Pacific time, usually 3 a.m. Eastern time, which I'm usually not the biggest fan of, honestly, because I just wish it dropped at midnight because I'm at least still up, considering the fact I'm a little bit of a night owl. the idea of me having to stay up to like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. until an episode drops, nah, probably not. But it would not surprise me though if they do go the episodic route. If they really just do drop it, say at like 3 a.m. or midnight, so that anybody can certainly watch it when they're certainly ready, Doomsday. So you're definitely right about that. And for me, somebody who is a little bit older, 38 myself, the idea of waking up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday is not pleasant, like at all. You know what I mean? I'll do it, but not something I want to do. Johnny also says, I think what Chance is saying is true, that Dino Fury season 2 for Netflix. Yeah, I definitely do think so too. It says it seems like he has misspoken, because if we look at Power Rangers on Netflix got rid most of the series. Why would they remove the rest of the shows, barring a few? If they wanted to stream Dino Fury on their platform. To that, I would just simply say, if anything, maybe the license with those Power Ranger shows actually expired. I would also say maybe they were not that big of a driver of additional revenue for them on Netflix, right? Those are a lot of older Power Ranger series. If anything, I have a feeling that maybe Hasbro wants to. A couple of things I will say in regards to that. So, Rob, the first thing I will say, one, I do think it has a lot to do with maybe the past Power Ranger shows, honestly, maybe just not making enough revenue. I think maybe they probably looked at their licensing agreement and just thought to themselves, there's really no point, right? We're not maybe getting enough viewership on the older Power Ranger stuff in order to even warrant to have to extend this contract or pay more, sort of thing, right? And maybe Hasbro looked at it as, we do have our own platform on YouTube where we can monetize our own content and all that money come directly to us. So I do think financially for Hasbro, it probably would have been a better move, because of the fact that if you do have maybe any Power Ranger content that is probably continuing to bring in revenue and views, it probably is the original MMPR, which a ton of people are used to, and a lot of the newer stuff that kids can kind of go back and watch that they just saw over on Nickelodeon. But those kind of in between seasons, I can see those maybe not picking up as much viewership to warrant how much is being spent or for those shows to be on Netflix. So I can easily see that. And I also just think that this is Hasbro maybe just trying to put their content wherever they certainly feel is going to be beneficial for them, or honestly just makes the most sense. The idea of maybe keeping your more current stuff on a streaming platform, but your past seasons together on a YouTube page where you can monetize your work and probably make a little bit more of an income than you would having it over on Netflix. So I don't believe he's misspoken. I mean, maybe he has, but I honestly don't believe so, because I do think that there are other things that you can look at that would certainly explain this move at the end of the day. The A Games 10 says, I fear for this, to be honest. People are just going to be confused when Nick finishes Dino Fury Season 1 and never airs a Season 2 promo at all. Technically, this means Dino Fury Season 2 will be an unaired TV season for the show. I mean, it's still a TV season. Like Netflix shows that come on are certainly are still recognized, right? I mean, it is a TV season. It just will not be broadcast on cable. Netflix shows get nominated for Emmys. They're still recognized as TV shows, as aired TV shows. I just think there's a different mindset that we have to maybe get into in regards to terminology, how it's used, especially based off of the fact that we are in streaming wars now. So what's on streaming is still aired TV. It's just not necessarily on cable. I do get the fear, though, in regards to what you mean, the A Games 10, that it could cause some confusion. That's the one thing that we mentioned at the top was, if there is a fear of mine or a worry of mine, it is the idea of how do you express to people that one half is being moved over to Nickelodeon and the other half is certainly being moved over to Dino Fury. It's really going to take a lot of promotion, which probably doesn't come from Nickelodeon very much. And maybe Netflix and Hasbro themselves will be the ones that'll have to do most of the heavy lifting. But we'll definitely have to see there. AJ does say, he says, yeah, Chance can't be that upfront. I'm pretty sure he got permission to answer that. I know the cast always listen and informed. They already spent time, long time keeping Jordan fights reveal. I mean, that's true too. I mean, Chance, they have done a really good job of not really revealing Jordan fight the entire time, which I think is rather incredible. Again, I don't know if he got permission or not. This to me feels like he didn't get permission, but he said it anyway. And one of the reasons why I think that, AJ, I mean, you could be right. You could absolutely be right. But what I will say is, let me go ahead and bring this up because good old Simon Bennett himself chimed in when it came to this. Somebody did try to confirm with Simon Bennett himself that this was true, and this is what Simon said. They said, Simon, is this true, or did Chance misspeak that? Simon says, if that was true, I wouldn't be able to discuss it. If it wasn't, I wouldn't either. So it feels very much like this is Simon Bennett saying, if it's true, I probably couldn't tell you that it was. And if it isn't, I probably wouldn't open my lips and tell you anyway. You know what I mean? Simon Bennett definitely seems like he likes to keep his reveals close to the chest. So this feels to me very much like a case of if it was supposed to come out, or if it was true, Chance probably wasn't supposed to reveal this as of right now. And Hasbro probably had some time that they wanted to reveal it for themselves. But I honestly think that it's true. Marcelino says, I heard some people don't want PR to go to Netflix. How come? I don't get it either. People don't want it to be on Nickelodeon. Right. So where do they want it to go? Is the biggest question that I have, right? People in the fandom have complained for years that they've wanted Power Rangers off of Nickelodeon. Well, now that it's actually happening, are people now complaining that it's not going to be on Nickelodeon anymore? At some point in time, guys, you got to take your stance as to what you want and stay true to it. Change is uneasy for everybody, when it comes to that. I'm sure there's a lot of worry at the end of the day of Power Rangers moving to Netflix, but literally everybody in the fandom felt like it should not be on Nickelodeon anymore. So now that we hear news that it's going to Netflix, why is there so much hesitation in the idea that this is happening? The fact that some people just don't want it to happen. If you don't want it to move to Netflix, where do you want it to move over to is the question that I would certainly have. So we'll see, Marcelino. I don't really know, but I will say this. I know not everybody has the means financially, but listen, if you eat out a lot, maybe 2 eat out meals a week, or a month, cut that out, put that $10 aside, you know what I'm saying, for a monthly subscription service to Netflix sort of thing. I think there are other subscription services out there that I don't think either don't get as recognized. Paramount Plus is an option for sure. I just don't know why they wouldn't want it to go to Netflix, considering just the name recognition alone and how many households internationally, over 200 million Netflix reaches on a regular basis. So if there's any place that I want Power Rangers to go, it's that. I need more eyes on this franchise for it to continue to become bigger than what it already is. Jordan, what's up, Jordan? Appreciate you coming back. We got who else we even got in here? We got Power Rangers Power Playback in here also. Thank you very much for certainly coming through. Let's see here. What else are you guys saying? Doomsday says, I mean, like people always say, if this kind of information is coming from different websites or YouTubers, then it's 100% a rumor. But if it came from Hasbro, Nickelodeon, the crew, or the cast themselves, then it's most likely confirmed. And that's kind of my mindset also. Hasbro, Nickelodeon, the crew, the cast, I'm perfectly okay with accepting those as confirmations. If you've got a big national recognized radio show in iHeartRadio, that kind of pushes something like that, I would probably believe that also. If it's Variety or Deadline, like a real recognized source, I would definitely believe it too. But considering the fact that it's coming from Chance themselves, I definitely would lean on believing it. We'll have to see. We have to see. Noah says, also that means no more break. I'm really hoping and keeping my fingers crossed that that's exactly what that means. That maybe we can get all of our episodes just back to back to back to back until the season winds up wrapping up itself. Yeah, and Adrian does break up a point. He says Netflix does have breaks, but they do tell you when the show comes on. Nickelodeon hardly. Yeah, they do take breaks. Like I have seen shows that have gone like part ones and part twos. I do wonder if in that case, if it's a sense of they just haven't produced the other half of the season, right? Like maybe they drop them in 6 or 8 episodes for one part, and then they film or whatever the case may be, and then they drop the second part. Whereas when it comes to Dino Fury, I'm pretty sure all the episodes will be ready to go. So I don't necessarily know if that means there's no need for a break because we already have these episodes ready. Marcelino says, people told me that Netflix no longer has exclusive content and that they want Netflix to be canceled because of cuties. I wasn't sure if appropriate to bring up. I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. No longer has exclusive content. Of course they do. Nickelodeon has a ton of original content. Don't listen to these people, Marcelino. Whoever's giving you this information, Netflix has a ton of exclusive content, whether that be their own original movies, their own original animated series, their own movies and television series. It's really, that's one of the reasons why Netflix manages to continue to stick around for such a long time. Netflix is one of the few subscribing services that saw the streaming wars coming along, right? That understood the idea that we need some of our own original content to be able to compete with the likes of an HBO Max and a Disney Plus, because these companies are going to come back and start taking all of our content, right? Their content, technically HBO's and Disney's content, but they're all going to start pulling it away and keeping it for themselves. So we need to get ahead of the group and start making our own original content. And all that original content is very much exclusive content for Netflix. Now, Netflix is very much in the business of still acquiring other people's international or intellectual properties, because they still will need content at this particular point in time. So that it certainly explains why, could certainly explain why Dino Fury is going to Netflix, and maybe why Netflix in the future might pick up other Power Ranger stuff also. But if they want to be canceled because of cuties, I don't even know what that is, honestly, to be honest with you, Marcelino. When you say the cuties idea, I have no idea what that means. Power Playback says, I don't even care if the episodes are longer now. I don't know how that will work for people in the UK. If anything, I am kind of curious if we'll still have 2 different international release dates, if we'll have international release dates for Dino Fury, or if they're all still going to drop at once. Does the UK, I believe the UK has Netflix, don't they? Maybe I'm wrong. And there are times too, I think, like if they don't have Netflix, or some countries may not have a particular a service provided to them, sometimes I will see that content go to the equivalent of what might be in an international area. So if you don't have a Netflix, but you have something else out there, it wouldn't surprise me if Hasbro maybe reached out to them and also played Dino Fury on there. Again, that I don't know. I don't live in the UK, so I am kind of curious to know a little bit more about that, honestly. Power Rangers Legacy. Let me see if I'm trying to see if maybe this is some confirmation. Cobra Kai, for example, airs only on Netflix since moving from YouTube in season 2. Other countries were able to see them. Also, some country Power Rangers air before USA, like in the Philippines. Who else we got here? We got Yusai. What's up, Yusai? Says, what's good, Adam? Let's go for the Dino Fury move to Netflix. I personally would prefer it because I have to jump through hoops to find this show online. Yeah, for me, based off of the idea that I too am a cable cutter, it's hard. It's difficult for me to find it. Like I do have to have a subscription to Philo, I think, an app in order to go ahead and watch Nickelodeon live. It also does come with like a DVR setting, so I was able to either be up in the morning to watch it at 7 a.m. or wake up about 8 o'clock and have it on my Philo DVR to certainly watch. But again, that's another service that I have to provide of like $16 or $15 in order to watch that. So now I don't need that service anymore. And now it's available to me on Netflix. So I'm with you there in Yusai in regards to the fact that I'm certainly glad that it's moving over to Dino Fury. Again, I know it's not going to be easy for some people for sure. There will be some downsides to it, but I do think that the benefits will certainly outweigh the down parts to that. I would also be interested to know, would you guys prefer this show to be binged or or just weekly? So Rob says even if Netflix airs Dino Fury, we should get them one by one instead of going for the binge model. I personally would like the weekly still. I still like that model. If you want it to be binged, that's certainly more than fine. But for me, I am leaning towards that week to week. I'm just kind of curious as to whether or not Netflix does their shows that way. Not their competition shows, because I do believe their competition shows do drop weekly like that. But I feel like all the other documentaries, original series, and things like that, all of that stuff usually drops all at once. So I am kind of curious to see what direction it will go that way. Noah Cummings says he most likely thought it was announced, talking about Chance Perez. I was just thinking about that the other day, Noah. That I am kind of curious as to when this interview was actually done. And the only reason why I say that is we literally just had a Hasbro Q1 call where Brian Goldner, the CEO, mentioned the idea of Power Rangers moving over to additional platforms and things like that. And I to be honest with you, there are a lot of people that certainly ran with that story online, on Twitter and things like that, broadcasted to the world what Brian Goldner was saying, the idea of Power Rangers moving over the platforms and things like that. Who's to say that Chance Perez didn't look at that as a sign like, oh, well, since Brian mentioned the idea of Power Rangers moving over to a platform, maybe that's okay for me to kind of bring up, right? I don't know what Chance even gets the opportunity to look at on Twitter or on his feeds, right? But maybe he saw a ton of people talking about a potential Power Ranger move to streaming services, and maybe he thought that meant it was okay for him to make this announcement or even sort of bring this up. I really don't know. Datilla, she says, I always thought Hasbro took off all the seasons from Netflix because they were going to release their own streaming platform. That's definitely has always been an option, I feel like, for Hasbro. Ever since they picked up Entertainment One, they definitely do have the content to roll out their own streaming services, but it definitely feels very much like they're content on sharing a lot of their content across several different platforms at this point in time. So really spreading, I think they even mentioned in an article the idea of spreading the risk. You don't want to keep too much of one content on one service. So that could certainly be another reason as to why they took a lot of those past seasons off of Netflix. Maybe they felt financially it was smarter for them to go ahead and put on their YouTube page. Jordan says, I thought it would be Paramount over Netflix, but definitely understandable. And I would say this, I still think that Paramount Plus is in the works. I don't necessarily know if all of Power Rangers content will be on Netflix, but at least in regards to Dino Fury and maybe the future of the kid Power Ranger show. Who certainly knows? Will definitely be on Netflix, but I am eager to see what'll happen there. Power Rangers Playback says Netflix is also known for canceling really good shows. To that, I definitely would agree with you. But I will say, when it comes to Power Rangers, just the way that they automatically have their stuff set up, it feels like what we get 2 seasons and then boom, it's like a rebirth, a reboot, a brand new series of Power Rangers afterwards. So, for Netflix, that does tend to cancel shows after like 3, 4, 5 seasons. It is one of those things, like Power Rangers usually only gets to 2 and then repeats. You know what I mean? So maybe that's something that they'll actually avoid when it comes to being on Netflix now. So who knows? I really don't know. The A Games 10 says another thing. Back then, Power Rangers on Nick felt a lot like a toy commercial. I don't see any commercials promoting toys for a Netflix show, and people have said that toys aren't findable now. So, well, I will say this. Yeah, I've never really known Netflix to really push things as a toy commercial. I do feel very much like, if anything, this probably will give the Power Ranger crew a lot more freedom in regards to their creativity, in regards to what they want to create or want to kind of push forward. I don't really know what toy sales have honestly been looking like as of yet, but the one thing that I can tell you is that Hasbro is investing a ton of money in regards to just content when it comes to different types of medias. I really do feel like their purchase of Entertainment One and their Power Ranger franchise means that maybe, while I'm sure they'll still create toys, I feel very much like their emphasis is going to be on creating television and movie content for the foreseeable future. I do think that it's just opens up a huge stream of revenue that Hasbro has never really experienced before. Now that they've got this Entertainment One on their side, the things that they're going to be developing and licensing out and things like that. So I can see the focus maybe changing a little bit from more actual media to I should say maybe from toys to more medians on television or film, and maybe those will be what actually drives the toy sales now per se. But we'll definitely have to see. Let's see here. Frankie, just random WWE on Peacock. Yeah, I'm already. I have picked up my Peacock subscription for WWE. I do miss the WWE network though. I really do. Let's see here. Oh, JB says, what? What's up, JB? Yes, right. You did remind me that you were going to be changing your name on here. So thank you very much. He says, but there are shows we have here in the States on Netflix that they don't in the UK. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I am hoping that it does at least show up in the UK, though. I really do. If you've got that viewership, don't take eyes off of it, honestly. I'm handsome. He says, I hope Dino Fury does go weekly to Netflix. If we binge, we have to wait a year or more for a new season. You're absolutely right. And listen, it's just funny to me because there are plenty of times I've had to binge a show and wait a year or two for another season to come back, right? Like, it'll be interesting for Power Ranger fans that aren't used to that lifestyle, now having them possibly maybe get used to that lifestyle, the idea of like, hey, here's the entire season, enjoy. Which I honestly don't mind which route that they certainly go. One, there is something great about binging because of the fact that I feel like you feel the full impact of that season all at once, so it hits you a certain way. But I do like the idea of having it drop weekly so you can have that full week momentum to talk about it with your friends, hype up the upcoming episodes and things like that. There are aspects to weekly end binging that I'm a huge fan of. Yeah, Ranger Class 101 just said the same thing. Week to week is most definitely preferred. Keeps the hype going. I definitely agree with you. Oh, Marcelino, thank you for the Cuties reference. I have not watched it, but I have heard about the show. So yeah, I do believe it's probably I'm sure Netflix and whoever is handling that the way it should be. But yeah, I have no idea. I just remember hearing about it. Johnny Marrero says, do you believe more PR adaptions are in the work alongside with Jonathan Entwistle's PR projects? I mean, I do think that more Power Rangers for kids are going to be in development. You guys know where I lean. I'm still not sold on Toei and Hasbro still working together. I do think that they have split, but that's just my opinion. And so, no, I do think if anything, Hasbro will just continue to create maybe original kid Power Ranger shows along with original Power Ranger shows for adults also. Marcelino, do you think Power Rangers will still be doing the two seasons per series? Yes, I do think that they probably will still stick with that. And yes, Datilla, a huge wrestling fan here also. I don't really know too many Power Ranger wrestling fans myself, but yeah. All right, guys. I think other than that, I think that'll probably wrap up our Power Ranger Netflix news here for you guys today. Again, if you guys want to take it as a Chance Perez misspoke, that's certainly more than fine. For me personally, I think Chance knew exactly what he was saying. Doesn't necessarily mean that he was supposed to say it, but I definitely do think he knows exactly what he was saying there. If there's anybody that I'm certainly going to go ahead and take their word for, it's definitely going to be one of the cast members. So we'll see what winds up happening, but I think this is one of the best things that could certainly happen to Power Rangers. More attention to your show. Let people know that we're still out there. Power Rangers is still on the air, that we're continuing to dish out brand new content. And I really do hope that when it is in fact time for Dino Fury to move over to Netflix, that we really have a huge push in regards to promotional work, whether that be from Nickelodeon or Netflix or even Hasbro themselves, honestly, because I really would love to see that Power Ranger franchise continue. And listen, I will say this, regardless if you're a fan of Power Rangers going over to Netflix or not, as part of the fandom, if you do support the show and the franchise, try and support its move. Also, check out the first couple of episodes and see what happens. See if it's something that you like. Maybe share somebody's profile to go ahead and check it out if you don't want to go ahead and watch it for yourself. You know what I mean? Or spend the money to go ahead and watch it for yourself. I think all of us as Power Ranger fans, regardless where the franchise moves, we want to see the franchise continue to get bigger and continue to reach out to other people and other kids and children to become a part of this fandom. If you're that type of supporter, then the idea of it moving to Netflix is probably right up your alley. Is the opportunity for Power Rangers to continue to grow in that sense, one or another, right? I think a lot of us have been patiently waiting to maybe have Power Rangers get off of Netflix. And now that we have this opportunity here, I think hopefully we should definitely continue to support it. But listen, guys, at the end of the day, I'm kind of curious to know your thoughts. What do you think about this potential move here for Dino Fury to Netflix? Did you believe Chance Perez? If you did, what do you think this certainly means for Dino Fury going forward? Do you think it's a good thing, a bad thing? Are you neutral on it? I definitely want to go ahead and know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, we will transition over to one more topic here in regards to the Hasbro Q1 call, where we got the opportunity to hear from Brian Goldner himself, really talk about the future of the franchise when it comes to Power Rangers. And I love these Q1 calls. While a lot of them are really business oriented, I love being able to kind of get that insight in regards to just some of the mindset that Hasbro has when it comes to the potential, not only for just Power Rangers as a whole, but for their company, and really what kind of drives them to branch out and really tackle something like a Power Rangers, and really what their big overall plans tend to be. And so while they definitely do continue to be very hush-hush in regards to what they plan to do, I did think that what Brian Goldner talked about this week was pretty fascinating. So I wanted to go ahead and highlight just some of the stuff that came out of this Q1 phone call here. If for some reason, if you guys aren't able to actually listen to some of the calls that come through or the investor meetings, they do provide transcripts, so you can actually sit down and actually read what was certainly said. And so the first, there are like three things that I want to highlight that came from Brian Goldner, again, the CEO over at Hasbro himself. They do take a question and answer section where they have people on the line actually submit questions over from Brian Goldner and other people to go ahead and answer. So one of them, one of the first questions says, first, could you talk a little bit more about the TV deliveries that are happening at E1 in the second half? Any sense of major shows that should be in bigger contributors to revenue? And this is what Brian Goldner said, because he did hearken to Power Rangers a little bit at the end. But he says, you know, on the first question, we're really seeing an array of TV series that are in production for E1, as well as a number of films. We talked about that in our prepared remarks. We're beginning with those deliveries. We have The Rookie, along with Cruel Summer, that we just launched on Freeform, which I believe I actually just saw a commercial for, a couple of films, and increased television deliveries throughout the year. In fact, Q2, we expect to see the growth that we're talking about. Our expectation for the full year also remains the same, which is that the entertainment business should grow double digits in revenue and return on television and film revenues to the levels that we saw back in 2019. And again, this kind of goes back to the idea of Power Rangers being a toy commercial, you know, with it being on Nickelodeon, right? The idea of it maybe going over the Netflix now, maybe not so much a toy commercial. I feel like the idea of what they just stated here, that their entertainment business is growing in such huge revenue that maybe their focus right now is on pushing television and film. And at the end, it says, in fact, this right now, we're already on pre-production with a planned launch of production in the next few months on Dungeons and Dragons, and a Dungeons and Dragons film. They also got Transformers for both television and film, along with My Little Pony. It says this feature animated CG film comes out in September on Netflix. So they are planning on doing like a relaunch of the My Little Pony franchise on Netflix also. But at the very end, it says Power Rangers. We have both the TV series and film that we'll talk about going to a platform very shortly. So I do wonder if this TV series that's going to a platform very shortly was actually Dino Fury for season 2, and Chance was like, bleh, here's some information for you guys that you're not supposed to hear yet. So I'm wondering if that is in recognition to what Dino Fury is certainly doing, and it could be a recognition of what Jonathan Entwistle is doing also. And I do find it fascinating. If you look at that very last very last sentence, Power Rangers, we have both the TV series and film that we'll talk about going to the platform very shortly. The film going to a platform very shortly. I find it interesting that he didn't say theaters. When you tell me platform, I automatically think streaming service. Now, I guess maybe a movie theater could still be a platform. Would you guys think so? I mean, when he says platform, I think to myself streaming service. And this is one thing that we've talked about over the past several months, especially when we came to find out that Hasbro actually moved the creative process of their Power Ranger movie from Paramount over to Entertainment One, which I found really interesting at the time, based off of the fact that Hasbro has utilized Paramount Plus I should say Paramount significantly for its Transformers movies, its G.I. Joe movies. It did kind of throw up a flag for me as to why would you move that over from Paramount over to Entertainment One. Not to say that Entertainment One doesn't also create its own movies, but it also made me think to myself, does that mean that we're taking this Power Ranger movie and moving it over to a streaming service? It would not be out of the realm of possibility, especially based off if you look at the 2017 Power Ranger movie that barely broke even at the box office. And then you want to tell me 5 years later, you want to go ahead and drop another Power Ranger movie and expect that to do better at the box office than what this 2017 one did? I think that's a big gamble and a big risk to go ahead and try and do that. Whereas you probably might cut some of that risk out if you were to take care and produce the movie yourself and then also drop it on a streaming platform that somebody will probably pay you great money to go ahead and put on their platform. I mean, we've seen Netflix shell out a ton of money for sequels to Knives Out, to a deal with Disney or Sony, I should say, to air their Sony movies over on them, to have like their first look exclusive movies to drop on Netflix, sort of thing. So it's not out of the realm of possibility of these big streaming services paying a hefty amount of money to go ahead for additional content, especially if that additional content that you might have thought you would release in theaters, you're kind of worried as to whether or not it's going to make its money in the box office. So for me, I feel very much like I'll plant this in the flag and say Power Rangers movie is coming to a Netflix or a streaming platform. I don't think this movie is coming into theaters. That's a sword or a flag I'll be more than happy to die on, because I would love to see this Power Ranger movie on the big screen, to be honest with you. Just because I'm a big movie buff. That's how I prefer to see my movies, honestly. But with the streaming wars, Power Rangers 2017 not making that type of money at the box office, to release another Power Ranger movie within 5 or 6 years, I think is a little bit too close for comfort. But maybe that's just me. There's a reason why I'm behind this screen and not making the decisions over at Hasbro for them. You know what I mean? So when I see this, this tells me future Power Ranger TV series to a streaming platform, along with a Power Ranger movie coming to a streaming platform also. So that's my belief, but that's just my belief. Okay, nothing's been confirmed from Hasbro, but just hearing what Brian Goldner is saying in regards to TV series and film we'll talk about going to a platform very soon. I feel like maybe they have intentions to go ahead and move their Power Ranger film to a streaming service. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think that's them being safe about not putting a ton of money towards it and not getting their money back at the end of the day. Let's see here. There also was another question towards the very end that I wanted to highlight here that I found pretty interesting too. Let me see if I can go ahead and pull this up for you guys. Okay, I think was this the next one? Give me a second here. Okay, perfect. I think I found it. So the next question was in regards, it says, and related to E1, Sony recently just signed deals with Netflix and Disney, where $3 billion combined, which is really unprecedented. And I know you recently signed output deals in the UK. Did you hear that? It said they recently just signed output deals in the UK. So maybe that does mean some of the things that they push on Netflix maybe actually will be broadcast over in the UK. It says in Ireland with Sky and things like that also. But I was hoping to get your thoughts on the deal and the implications for Entertainment One, just in terms of how you're thinking about investing in that business and potential for more output deals in the future. And this is what Brian Goldner said, because it does go back to Power Rangers here. It says, yes, well, look, what's great about where we are is that Entertainment One has historically been an organization that's been very effective in building incredible content in a risk mitigated way and selling to a number of partners, great relationships across the board with the OTT platforms, from Netflix to Amazon to Apple's to others. We have shows on the air with all of these different outlets. And then, of course, as well as with broadcasters, terrestrial and satellite around the world, we can continue to look at how we put Hasbro IP into the market. So real quick, just to kind of go back to people wondering how does that make sense that you put your show back onto Netflix, yet you just took some of your Power Ranger shows off of Netflix, right? The idea of risk mitigating, taking your content and putting it all over the place so it reaches a plethora of different people. In the second paragraph, there's a very strong demand for world-class IP. And Hasbro has a great array of it. We're working, as I mentioned, on a number of brands, and we're starting to see the traction across brands like My Little Pony, which we have talked about on Netflix in September. Transformers, a new series going on to other platforms. Our film coming out next year in partnership with Paramount. And then Power Rangers. And you'll hear more about it. Thanks, Chance. But we've been developing that. We expect shortly to be able to talk about the brand, new content for the brand that will go after a multitude of audiences, so kids to adults, that will be on a streaming platform. So again, a good position for the company, and we look at all of our opportunities. But you're right, we've entered into an area that's really an unprecedented spending on content and an unprecedented desire for these great brands with great stories, and Entertainment One is expert at that. So they're pushing full forward with this Entertainment One and creating this content because, again, they see the double-digit revenues. They can tell that a ton of people are spending a crap ton of money just to have content on their streaming services because of the fact that you have big people out there like an Amazon, like an HBO Max, like an Amazon and things like that, and Disney Plus, that are taking back a lot of their properties, and now you need to be able to compete with them. So Hasbro is putting Power Rangers and a ton of their IP in a great position. Again, they're going to be delivering brand new content for the brand that will go after a multitude of audiences that will be on a streaming platform. So I think they know exactly the direction that they definitely want to go. To me, this screams Power Ranger kid television show on a streaming platform. This screams animated series on a streaming platform. This screams film on an animated platform. Grown-up TV series on a streaming platform also. Just a plethora of places for Power Rangers to certainly go. And I think you continue to see the emphasis that Hasbro is certainly putting when it comes to their television division. So I'm here for it, guys. I absolutely love this and what it certainly means for Power Rangers. I think Hasbro is very smart in understanding, again, the idea that cable is just dying out, that people are watching more and more content on streaming services, and not everybody has all the streaming services. So let's branch out a little bit, right? You don't want to have one streaming service that just has one thing or all your content to where it does become stale, and then you got to take it off and move it all around. I do think that this is a smart idea here when it comes to Hasbro. So again, I think this maybe even solidifies more what Chance Perez was certainly referring to. The idea that Brian Golder mentions that, hey, we've got some announcements coming up, but maybe Chance beat us to at least maybe one or two of them. Who certainly knows? But I almost think that this Q1 call actually reaffirms what Chance Perez just literally mentioned to iHeartRadio the other day. So big things are coming, man. And if you're not ready for it, strap yourselves in, because I think this is the opportunity now for Power Rangers to really start putting itself back out there and letting people recognize that it is still on air, because you would be amazed as to how many people in the general public have no idea that Power Rangers is still around. And again, I think the idea of being attached to a streaming service just allows for a ton of more creativity that you don't have to worry about. And I think because of the fact that we are now getting to these streaming wars, could Power Rangers still adapt Super Sentai stuff? Yeah, I'm sure they probably could if they wanted to. But I guess for me, it would be the idea of I'd rather have that creative freedom to tell the stories that I want to, instead of being hindered by what footage I actually have to kind of work with from another show. You know what I mean? One of the things that Simon Bennett has talked about before is how difficult it is putting together a Power Rangers show. He's come out and said the idea of the process of writing with what you have what Toei has kind of given them, that process can be complicated to try and figure things out. So why not allow Power Rangers to become easier for creators to certainly make? And I think the idea of them going over to a streaming platform allows for those more creative friendly opportunities for Power Rangers to dabble in some things that it never really has before, or really give it its first shot to actually do something like that. Like like for me, when it comes to the Power Ranger television show that we have now, I would love to see Simon Bennett and that crew return to do another season after Dino Fury, but maybe that be an original sort of Power Rangers for kids television show. We've seen Dino Fury dabble in the original Megazord footage already. Not a lot of movement, very briefly, but they've dabbled in it a little bit. I would love to see what a completely original Power Rangers series coming from the mind of Simon Bennett and his crew would certainly look like. And I think the idea of moving over to a streaming platform would just open that up for him even more, honestly. So, again, the changing of the guard, the old ways as to how Power Rangers used to do it, there's always going to be worry when it comes to change that certainly might happen. So I get the pushback, I truly do, but I do think that we are now sort of in a new era and a new age, and I think Power Rangers has to certainly adapt in order to certainly keep up with everything that's certainly going on. And I think this is Hasbro's goal in allowing Power Rangers to be rebooted, reimagined, and hopefully now be in more mainstream eyes to get that popularity back. I don't know if it'll ever go back to the popularity of the 90s, but definitely maybe where further along in popularity than where it certainly is as of right now. And I think the idea, again, of going over to Netflix, other streaming services that have eyeballs internationally, over hundreds of millions of subscribers throughout the entire country, I think that's a great way to certainly at least get started with that. But guys, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about some of the content from Brian Goldner in regards to what he says? Do you think we're going to be getting ourselves a Power Ranger movie on the streaming service, or do you think it's still going to go to theaters? And what other content from Power Rangers would you personally like to see on the streaming service? Definitely go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys. With that out of the way, let's see here. What else we got? We're going to stick around in the Power Ranger side of things a little bit, but we don't really do this very much, but we're going to talk some Power Rangers apparel, okay? Some clothing, perhaps. Also, quick shout out to carsonscorner.com. Again, Carson's Corner with a K for your Power Ranger, and great callback TV sitcom sort of apparel, if you will. I bought 2 Dino Fury shirts from them, which I absolutely love. I'm probably going to go ahead and purchase me a Chance Perez Black Ranger hoodie at some point in time. But they got boxer shorts, t-shirts, they got socks. I mean, anything you could possibly imagine over at Carson's Corner. Go ahead and check them out. But we're not highlighting Carson's Corner this week, unfortunately. But this week, I did want to go ahead and let you guys know that Power Rangers is actually teaming up with Reeboks for some collaboration when it comes to shoes, ladies and gentlemen. Now, to be fair, I don't know if these are actually adult shoes. These actually might still be kid shoes, but Reebok, you need to get on it if these are just for kids. Power Rangers Reeboks collaboration shoes have in fact been revealed, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it'd be pretty cool to go ahead and showcase to you guys just what some of these designs actually look like, and if they were made for adults, would you actually rock some of these? I feel like there are probably a couple of pairs in here I probably would love to have for myself here. Let me go ahead and pull this up though, so you can see what some of this says. So this is from Tokusatsu Network. It says Power Rangers and Reeboks are collaborating for some special edition kicks for both adult and kid fans of the franchise. Get ready, guys. It says it's Morphin Time. This collaboration features different types of shoe themes and inspired after each Ranger and their respective Dinozords from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The Yellow Ranger classic shoes are our only pair available in adult men's sizes. What? Come on, guys, y'all slacking on this. So it says the Yellow Ranger Classic shoes are the only pair available in adult men's sizes. It says the Power Ranger Club C Sabretooth Zord shoes are perfect for those who want to represent the Yellow Ranger and her Sabretooth Tiger Dino Zord. The colors and materials are themed after the Ranger Zords. A silver metallic heel is added as the Zord's teeth. Specifications includes lace closure, textile upper, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so here's some of the shoe designs here for the Yellow Ranger. Again, it looks like this is the only pair available in adult men's sizes. That's actually not too bad. I don't even have a pair of yellow kicks at all, but this may give me reason to get some yellow ones. It will also have the Triceratops Zord, is what kids will want if the Blue Ranger and his Triceratops Dinozord are their favorite. This pair channels the power of the mighty Triceratops with colors and materials themed after the Zord. So you get the silver metallic pops are used as the Zord horns on here as well. So you get to see the blue ones here. Those are actually pretty sweet looking, honestly, if you ask me. Can I pop one of these up bigger? Oh, that's just a... Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. I don't know how I'm feeling about the just the ankle riders here, you know? Those are pretty slick. I love the symbols on the front of them, honestly. And then of course we've got that says those will go for $65. Jesus, $65. It didn't say the price for the yellow ones, though, I don't believe. Yeah, no, the price for the yellow ones weren't there. You also got the pink ones, the high tops. Yo, I wish they had high tops for guys, though, on this. It says, yeah, charged with pink, white, and vector red colors in here. These are actually pretty dope. These feel very more retro to me, like they created these back in like the 90s or something. So there you go, ladies. If you want to get some pink kicks, those are actually pretty cool. I love the teeth design on the back too. That's definitely that pterodactyl kind of chest design. That's pretty cool. $65 for those also. And then of course you get the Red Ranger, channeling the strength of the mightiest Dino Zord of the 5. These shoes are colors and materials themed after the Tyrannosaurus. I'm not sure how I'm feeling those teeth on the very front. And this design, like, why does he have a middle? Why are they having the middle finger at me in this design on the front? I know it's not a middle finger, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. But yeah, those are the ones for the red. If you guys are interested in those, all 4 Power Ranger Reebok shoes are scheduled releases for May 15th, which is a Saturday. Again, May 15th, Reebok USA. The shoes will be available at 10 o'clock EDT. So yeah, May 15th. These shoes will in fact be going on sale. Power Rangers and Reebok collaborating. Are you guys going to get yourselves a pair? I might actually get myself a pair, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't, like I said, I don't even know what I would rock these yellow shoes with. But maybe somebody that's got better style than me can suggest what I should rock those with. But yeah, guys, I thought that would be pretty cool to highlight. Because you know, I do need to up my apparel game. First off, I love this. I love my Power Rangers shirt. I think I got this from a convention once, inspired from the Pink Floyd music cover for Power Rangers. So I do love me some Power Ranger apparel, but I do need to add more to it. So maybe one way to do that will be some shoes. I'm not really a big shoe collector guy. I know some people have like just closets full, walls full of shoes that they can certainly pick from. Shoes have just always been so damn expensive. I think that's probably why I've never been one to collect shoes like that. But if you guys are big into shoes, I'm kind of curious if this is something that would interest you, if you guys even plan on picking them up. Again, May 15th, these certainly will be available. So definitely let me know your thoughts in regards to that collaboration. I thought that was perfect. We are going to move next, guys, into some Tokusatsu news for you guys. We're going to make that transition as we have 2 topics left, but then we will be getting into your guys' live viewer questions. And maybe I'll jump into the comment section here. Actually, you know what? I will jump into the comment section right now. If we run a little bit over today, that's fine. We we did miss out last week on getting able to talk with you guys. So if we go a little bit longer today, I do apologize, but there's a ton of stuff to certainly talk about and catch up with a lot of you guys in regards to. What's up, Jeff? Jeff says, I am not going to like the change since I can't afford Netflix. Yeah, see, I figured some people probably wouldn't be a big fan of it. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult. As a Power Ranger fan, I would just recommend everybody, like, listen, if you're a Power Ranger fan and you absolutely want to watch Power Rangers on Netflix, I don't know, maybe is there some things that we can maybe change around, right? Is there a streaming service you don't use anymore that you maybe can take those funds and move those over to Netflix, right? Are we the type of person that eats out a lot? Can we cut out maybe 2 eat out meals out of the entire month and put a couple of extra pennies towards Netflix sort of thing, right? I feel there's always some way around it. And Netflix isn't asking for $80 or $70. You know what I mean? So maybe, if you collect comics, maybe cut out 2 comic books a month. You know what I'm saying? Put that money aside type of thing. I think there are always going to be options for people to certainly get it. Whether or not people want to make that sacrifice or move things around to do it is certainly up to them. But I know it's not going to work for everybody. I certainly know it's not going to work for everybody. But the idea alone that we're going from a certain amount of people that can watch it on Nickelodeon to a plethora of people that can watch it over on Nickelodeon, on Netflix, I think Hasbro's probably okay with making that sacrifice. You know what I mean? But I get it. It's not going to be easy for everybody, Jeff. I totally understand that, man. Ranger class. Do you think Power Rangers will change its formula in order to reach a broader audience? For example, less Zord fights, maybe regular suits, but less colorful, somewhat like the Omega Rangers. I do think in certain aspects, yes, the formula probably will change. Like Jonathan Entwistle stuff that he's creating, I'm not expecting a Zord fight every episode. I'm not expecting a morphing sequence every episode for the entire group, right? I feel like it's probably going to be more long form storytelling to how we have maybe some of our CW shows now, maybe like some Netflix original series like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, right? The idea of long form storytelling over an entire season. The newest Netflix Voltron series, animated, kind of did that formula also, right? We didn't have a Voltron battle every episode. Maybe you had individual lions and maybe individual changing sequences, but I do think, maybe the kids stuff will keep that same formula. But I think if you're looking for like the adult stuff that Jonathan Entwistle is working on, I'm expecting that to become a completely different formula. Izzy, what's up, Izzy? Those saber-tooth tiger ones, though. I'm glad you're liking those. Yeah, I need to add more color to my clothing line. So if anything, that's one of the reasons why I would definitely get the saber-tooth tiger ones. Just because I was like, I don't own any yellow shoes. I don't know what I would rock them with, but I'm sure I could find something too. Zachary says, I wouldn't be surprised if the PR movie is on HBO Max like Mortal Kombat, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and others. I mean, a lot of those movies are coming onto HBO Max simply because of the fact that they are Warner Brother properties. So it's easy for HBO Max to have those big blockbusters because they belong to them. I don't really know. how Warner Brothers would feel about bringing in other licensed property that's not their own. So I am hesitant about the idea of Power Rangers movies being on something like a HBO Max, but I can easily see it going to like an Amazon or a Paramount Plus or even a Netflix or, you know, that type of thing. But the reason why those movies are on HBO Max is because they do belong to Warner Brothers. So it certainly makes sense in that regards. But you also say, speaking of which, off topic, has anyone seen Mortal Kombat and Zack Snyder's Justice League? Worth the watch. You know, Mortal Kombat, if you're going in there just because you want to see some great action and fatalities, absolutely. If you're going in there for Oscar nominated storytelling, probably not. But if you're going in there just for cool action sequences and a video game movie, yeah, definitely go ahead and check it out. Fun little watch. Zack Snyder's Justice League, for me, I think it was worth the watch. It's 4 hours of just epicness. There are moments, I think the first couple of, like the first quarter of the movie, like the first hours, maybe a little bit slow. But it's really just all proper build up into great character work. And I think a lot of the action sequences for Justice League are pretty epic, especially the finale. It felt like a completely different movie to me. I mean, it certainly still feels like the other Justice League, but just elaborated and expanded to just add a lot more depth and understanding and just epicness to the film. So for me, it was a win. So I definitely, but I could be biased. You never know. Doomsday, if you want to make a tribute to Twee, just wear those shoes. Absolutely. Yeah, maybe on her birthdays or the anniversary of her passing, maybe I'll just rock those shoes as a quick shout out to her. That's a great suggestion, Doomsday. Thank you for that, man. Datilla says, I want the whole collection. I love it. I do wish, honestly, I do wish that the red shoes were designed almost like the pink, at least in regards to like the high top fashion. I kind of dig that. I kind of dig that look. Datilla says, they are missing green and black. Yeah, they are, aren't they? Man, Zach would be pissed. Zach would be pissed. All right. I'm going to go ahead and move on over to our next topic for the day, guys. Again, we got 2 more topics left that we're going to go ahead and break down. This will be in regards to some tokusatsu information for you guys to hear as we have ourselves some new looks at an upcoming Kamen Rider 01 movie, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's Kamen Rider 01 Others. We actually have a first look at Kamen Rider Vulcan and Valkyrie, as they have brand new forms that are going to be taking place in that movie itself. And for those of you who are big Kamen Rider fans, especially 01, they recently just dropped the Real Time or Real X Time movie in English sub. So if you haven't had the opportunity to check it out, please go ahead and try and find it, especially if you were a big fan of the Kamen Rider 01 series. Stuart, who does our Kamen Rider Saber reviews for us, actually did do a review for Kamen Rider Real X Time. So if you want to go ahead and check it out, it is on our YouTube page. So you guys go ahead and check it out if you'd like to. But we do have ourselves another 01 movie that's certainly coming to us here. So let me go ahead and pull up this article here and we'll showcase to you guys some of the brand new designs that they have. So it says Toei has revealed 2 new rider forms for the upcoming Kamen Rider 01 film. It says this new film takes place after the previous Kamen Rider 01 film. And then it says we've got the returning actors returning to face the final threat of Metso Bujin Rai, .net, if you will. So it says Vulcan will abandon the shot riser driver and take up the 01 driver with a new key, the Dire Wolf, to become the Kamen Rider Vulcan Lone Wolf. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this bad boy. Look at this bad boy. What is it? The Dire Wolf. Oh, excuse me, the Lone Wolf. Yeah, so he's picking up the Dire Wolf to become the Kamen Rider Vulcan Lone Wolf. I really do love this design. I had no idea he was actually going to be using the Kamen Rider 01 driver himself. But now you get to see that along with his brand new form. That looks pretty badass, to be honest with you. And then we also do have another showcase here. Meanwhile, Kamen Rider Valkyrie gains the Serval Tiger Key and activates her new form, Kamen Rider Valkyrie Justice Serval. So you get to see just briefly. They don't have a full breakdown of the other costume, like the other costume, like the Lone Wolf, but this is just a glimpse as to what we can expect from the brand new Valkyrie Justice Serval form. So some really great looks at both of these brand new costumes, and it does say that 01 Others movie will be released this upcoming November 10th of 2021. So we actually have ourselves quite a ways to go before we actually get this upcoming movie, but I'm sure the movie itself will certainly be worth the wait. From what I heard from Stuart, he was a really big fan of the other 01 Real X Time movie that he wound up reviewing. So I'm definitely expecting him to be really eager to see Kamen Rider Others as well. And for me, these were two costume designs from the 01 series that I was a really big fan of. So to see them even get upgraded a little bit more, I think is pretty stellar. So you guys get a glimpse of some of these brand new costumes in here from the Lone Wolf, for Vulcan Lone Wolf here. And then, of course, you wind up having another shot of the Valkyrie Justice Serval as well. So let me know your thoughts in regards to these brand new forms in the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And then last but not least, Zenkaiger, ladies and gentlemen, as we wind up having ourselves some brand new scans that recently came out, and also not only scans but brand new information in regards to two big new characters that are taking place in Zenkaiger right now. Episode 7 saw the introduction to Stacy, aka Stacasear, and then this past week in episode number 8 we got introduced to Zox Gold Tweaker, aka Twokaiser himself. And so with that brings brand new Zords, or mechas, I should say, brand new henshin devices and new costumes for us to certainly enjoy, to say the least. So I want to go ahead and bring up a ton of these scans, because we had a ton of these scans revealed this week, along with the information that comes with them. So we're actually getting this information from jefusion.com. It's a great Japanese entertainment blog. Not only do they focus on Japanese entertainment, but they are dabbling a little bit more now in Western storylines like Marvel and DC and things like that. But we are affiliated with jefusion.com. Also, all of our weekly shows, along with our reviews for Zenkaiger, do in fact go up on jefusion.com as well. But they revealed all this stuff to us. So let's just start going through these scans, guys. You may not see my face for a while as we talk about these, but you know, my handsome face will be back, so certainly don't worry. But here we got, it says Zox and Flint Gold Tweaker are pirate siblings from Kaizoku Topia, who travel from parallel worlds, which, for those of you who don't know, Kaizoku, that's the beginning of the Gokaiger's team name, isn't it? Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger. So yeah, these guys are parent siblings from Kaizoku Topia, or maybe that's Piratopia, who travel from parallel worlds. They are huge fans of Gokaigers. That's why Twokaiser's suit is similar to them. Zox transforms into Twokaiser with the help of the Gear Delinger and the Gokaiger Sentai gears. So here we have a photo of Zox, who's in the blue, and his sister in Flint, Gold Tweaker here. We also get to see exactly what he transforms into, as we got a great first look, if you will, at his Gear Delinger a little bit, along with his incredible costume as well. And here's another shot of it as well, so you can kind of see it. And I love also just the henshin sequence on the far right hand side. You can actually see Zox, and then the slow transformation into his actual transformation. And then we wind up getting ourselves a much better shot at the Gear Delinger as well, which I absolutely love. If you guys have not seen his debut yet, please do yourselves a favor and at least go and watch Twokaiser's debut, because he kind of uses that gigantic circular pirate wheel on one side, sort of like as a musical symbol that he taps each time he kind of dances before he does his morphing sequence. I think it's absolutely brilliant, to be perfectly honest with you. But it also turns into a sword, which I think is pretty remarkable in its own right, in regards to the idea of what it can actually use it as. So really unique when it comes to its abilities in regards to weapons. They also go on to say here that Twokaiser has 2 fighting modes, assisted by his 2 robot friends, Enrique and Katanar is what its name is. And you can kind of see glimpses of them in here also. Let me see if I can bring them up. Yeah, you can see them in the top left-hand corner over the shoulder of Twokaiser. They're also here in the far left corner as well. Again, these are his 2 robot friends, Ricky and Katanar. So he does have 2 fighting modes that are assisted by both of these robot friends. So the first one is going to be the hot-blooded Oren form. So let's go ahead and pull up that one. This is the Oren form that he changes into, taking inspiration from the O-Rangers, obviously, and utilizing their abilities there. And it says the O-Ranger Sentai gear, which he uses. This particular form specializes in hand-to-hand combat. So that's what we see there. And then it says the next one is the cool-sided Shinken form, Shinken Sentai gear, who specializes in sword techniques. And then we get to actually see that Shinken form here as well. So I really am eager to see what both of these are actually going to look like in action. But it definitely seems as though here, the first one, again, more hand-to-hand combat driven, whereas this one, you get to see more specializing in that sword that pops up out of that gear at the linger. So some really great transformation sequences, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing here also. But it says, when it's time for some mecha action, though, Twokaiser summons the Crocodile, which can transform into 2 battle modes, just like its pilots. So let's see if we can, where's that picture at, to go ahead and show the Crocodile. How do they come up with some of these names? I have no idea. But the Crocodile is on the far right-hand side. This is probably the airship that we've seen kind of breaking through the clouds in episode number 8 itself. And the article does go on to mention that, yes, it does, in fact, break up into 2 different battle modes, the Twokaiser Riki and the Twokaiser Katanar, which you can see actually here on this page as well. So I'm assuming the top one is going to be the Tokai. Hold on, let me just double check this. I'm assuming this is the Tokai Katanar, and then the bottom one's probably the Tokai Riki. And then let me go ahead and give you guys some better modes to kind of look at these guys also, so you can see what their 2 forms are going to be looking like. That's just the individual ones right here, which I think look great. You can see the influences already from Shinkenger along with O-Ranger. I'm fascinated with the idea of his little 2 robot friends, because we already see a robot friend with in Sichin with Kaito. So I am wondering if all this stuff has been created by Kaito's parents or not. Let me see here. Here's another shot. This one, you get to see the Crocodile at the top, which it looks like it actually even can transform into a motorcycle of some sort. That's pretty neat also. I'm loving the designs that we've got. Here's another really great close-up shot of one of them as well. So it says, again, we got the 2 robot friends, Ricky and Katanar, the hot-blooded Oren form, who specializes in hand-to-hand combat, and the cool-headed Shinken form, who specializes in the sword technique. So those are the ones for Twokaiser. Now, not only is Twokaiser highlighted in here, but we also get the opportunity to learn a little bit more about Stacy. It says, so finally, to top things up with our heroes, Stacasear will also summon his own personal mech as well, ladies and gentlemen. So this is Stacasear, and you get to see a great shot of his own personal mech to the very far left-hand corner here also. That's titled The Battle Caesar Robo. That's right. So this concludes that Stacasear is in fact based off of the Battle Fever J Super Sentai team. So again, that's the Battle Caesar Robo that you guys get to see highlighted to the far left here, which is really concurrent because we've got the that lines up brilliantly with the Battle Fever J series because they also have a Battle Fever Robo. So Battle Fever Robo, Battle Caesar Robo. You see the different. You see the similarities there. So yeah, we'll definitely be seeing Stacasear in action as this season progresses. So despite the idea of Twokaiser just wiping the floor with him in episode number 8, he definitely plans to come back with some additional tech of his own. So I gotta say, guys, I'm loving these scans. I'm loving the reveals that we get here. There's a lot of mystery still surrounding a lot of both of these characters, honestly, and Stacasear along with Zenkaiger themselves. And it is one of those things where I'm not to say that I almost fell off of Zenkaiger, but episode number 6 for me was probably the worst of the season. I get the idea of slow building and introducing some of us to some of these characters, but the first 5 to 6 episodes, I really had no idea if this show knew what it wanted to be or where it was certainly going storyline wise, detail wise. But I got to say, after watching personally the Zenkai Red Great Introduction 2-part series, along with episode 7 and episode 8 of Zenkaiger, it's really just kind of injected me with a new influx of enthusiasm for this Super Sentai season. The mystery behind Stacasear is fascinating to me, to learn a little bit more about his Kikainoid father and his human mother, what happened between those two to have Stacy have such resentment towards his father, right? Clearly, the fact that Bara Shitara winds up abandoning his son, the mother eventually dies, which we haven't been revealed as to how. Who knows? Maybe it was at the hands of Bara Shitara for all we know, but we clearly see the animosity that Stacasear has towards his father, and even somebody like Kaido, who he clearly feels a certain type of way because of the fact that he had a significantly different upbringing than he certainly did. And then on the other side, now we've got Twokaiser, who's coming out of nowhere here from this pirate world, if you will. I'm kind of curious as to what his connections are to the previous Gokaiger team, since he is representing the 35th Super Sentai team, which was Gokaiger. Does he know Captain Marvelous? Have they had any contact with one another, since the fact that he does have a Sentai gear that he can change form into things? Did Kaito's parents give those to him? Did he steal those and take those from Kaito's parents? Who certainly knows? But I love all the mystery that's certainly coming out of this. And the fact that we've gotten a Stacasear, an evil ranger, if you will, our 6th ranger, all within the first 8 episodes, makes me wonder, like, Zenkaiger, what other reveals do you have for me to even go through the remaining of these seasons? You know what I mean? Or to the remainder of this season? Like, what other surprises will they have? I'm not really a big fan of checking out scans for the entirety of a season. Now that we have the 6th ranger and his siblings and his sister, along with his other special robot friends and his mechs sort of revealed to us, I may take the rest of the Zenkaiger season and just avoid scans for the remainder of the season and just kind of really be surprised as to what's coming for the remainder of the season. Because if we're getting all of this within our first 8 to 9 episodes of a season, like, we still got 40 something episodes to go. So I'm really eager to see what they wind up doing for the remainder of this season. Here's a couple other shots here too. I thought this was great to see the actual form again of the O-Ranger, along with the Shinkinger side of things as well, along with the buddies, his special robot friends that are affiliated with each of those as well. So guys, listen, at the end of the day though, I definitely want to know your thoughts. What do you think about some of these scans? Have you been checking out Zenkaiger? And if so, what have you certainly thought about this season so far? Let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And I think with that, I think that will wrap up all of our stories here today, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for definitely joining us. Let's see here. Let me see if there's anything inside of the comment section. If not, I'll probably go directly over to your live viewer questions. AJ says, I freaking love Stacasear and Twokaiser. Definitely made Zenkaiger more worth watching. They make the show stand out. Yeah, I definitely would agree with you there, AJ. They definitely have captured my imagination, so I'm really eager to see what they have in store for us. JB says, Vox is very flamboyant, but I like it. Yeah, I dig his style so far. He definitely still has very much that that pirate mentality. You have something I want, so I'm here to just take it from you. When it comes to Gokaiger and pirates in general, they're very showy. You know what I mean? They gotta show out. And so Zox definitely is definitely doing that with great style, by the way. I want his coat. I need his trench coat. I truly do. Looks like Datilla had to wind up leaving. Take care, Datilla. Thank you very much for certainly joining us today. It's great to have a new face around here for sure. Doom Caesar was paying homage to Battle Fever J at all. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, honestly, Doomsday, because to be honest with you, it took me a while to realize that connection also. His mask, now that I see the connections or know the connections, if you look at his mask for sure, I can definitely see where that influence would come from. But yeah, it's almost hard to not recognize it now that we've seen his battles Caesar Robo. You know what I mean? So it should be fun overall. But all right, guys, with that out of the way, let me go ahead and start tackling some of your guys' live viewer questions for the day. So let's go ahead and pull these up here. Okay. I know we had some questions from last week also. We'll see if we're able to get to some of those or not. Doomsday. We'll start from the latest to the more recent. Doomsday, do you think that Dino Thunder is the most intense Dino-themed season of Power Rangers? As of right now, yes, I do think so. In regards to intensity, yes, I would agree with that, Doomsday. Now, Dino Fury has won the elimination game on Nickelodeon's Instagram page. Do you feel like Dino Fury and the Rangers have a better chance at winning the 2022 Kids' Choice Awards for favorite kids show and favorite TV actress? Yes, I do. Now that we're going to be having at least a full season of Dino Fury under our belts, I am expecting Dino Fury to be nominated. As far as like acting wise, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a Russell Curry or a Tessa Rao maybe nominated as somebody. Who knows? Maybe Jordan Fight will come out of nowhere and really make an impression. So we'll see. But I do think they'll have some nominations. Whether or not they'll win, I don't know. But I do think they'll be nominated. If Dino Fury season 2 wasn't going on Netflix, what other streaming service or TV channel do you think it would go on? I'm still leaning maybe Paramount Plus. Really, those are my two options. Maybe Paramount Plus along with Netflix would have been my two choices. Outside of that, maybe Hulu or Amazon Prime as my third. I probably would have gone with maybe Amazon Prime. Let's see here. A couple questions from Adrian Perez. How are you doing during the hiatus of Dino Fury? And do you hope the show picks up where it left off at? Yes, I do hope that it picks off where it left off at. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I don't think it's going to be an immediate pickup by any stretch of the imagination. I think maybe the next day or next couple days type of thing. But I'm doing okay during the hiatus of Dino Fury. I think this week certainly gave us some great news to certainly talk about. You know what I mean? With Dino Fury off the air. Last week was a nice sort of way to separate myself a little bit from Dino Fury. So I feel like I'm handling it pretty well. I mean, I feel like I handle most hiatuses well, but this show has been just so damn good that I don't prefer just not to have a hiatus. Honestly, I don't think anybody really wanted a hiatus, but yeah, it is what it is. Like I'm so used to it by now that it doesn't really phase me too much. It just kind of sucks because I really did love this show and really would love to have it back already. Do you think by moving to Netflix, Power Rangers will be a little more free when it comes to how episodes are put together, like more room for extra scenes? To me, it feels like before Beast Morphers and Dino Fury, each episode felt too short or rushed. Yeah, I feel like Dino Fury right now, but at least just storytelling wise, they're really handling the time well as to how they want to tell their stories. I'm not really feeling like a lot of these episodes are rushed. If there is anything rushed, like the endings sometimes just kind of come up really abruptly. But outside of that, I have really enjoyed the pacing for both Beast Morphers and Dino Fury for the most part. But the idea of them moving to Netflix, I don't know if it would affect a season 2 of Dino Fury, because I feel like the majority of it's already been filmed. So it's just an idea of wherever it's going to be dropped at. So I'm not expecting too many changes to happen when it comes to Dino Fury, but for future iterations of Power Rangers on Netflix, yeah, I do think this will allow them to have a little bit more freedom in regards to maybe their lengths of the episodes, how the episodes are kind of put together, and pacing and things like that. So I am expecting that formula to change a little bit in future seasons of Power Rangers. I don't remember if I already asked this before, but what others Power Rangers seasons or Super Sentai would you like to check out during the hiatus? I honestly wouldn't mind just doing another Power Rangers binge of all the seasons, honestly. I do wish that they were still available on Netflix to be able to do something like that, but I'm sure I can find ways to get around that if I need to. But other Super Sentai seasons I would want to check out during the hiatus. Jetman has come to mind a little bit. I am considering revisiting Shinkenger again. There are quite a few, especially going back and rewatching Gokaiger. Since we've been doing this, once I get done with Go Ranger, I am going to be jumping to Jack because I do want to see Big One in that particular team in action as well. But there are a couple other ones that I definitely want to go ahead and check out. I haven't checked out O Ranger, and for me, Power Ranger Zeo was been one of my favorites. So I've always wanted to go back and see what O Ranger was really like, and same thing even with Time Ranger. Let's see here. Damien Cowboys. What's up, Damien? It might have been actually a brand new subscriber. I don't know if it's a subscriber or question, but thank you very much for your question. My question is, if Dino Fury Season 2 is to move to Netflix, would it kill the fan base? No, I don't think it would kill the fan base. I think if anything, it'll grow the fan base. Listen, I do know that there are some people out there that don't like the move to Netflix, don't have Netflix themselves, but I do think that that's probably a minuscule amount. I feel like if anything, this will probably just grow the fan base even more, bring in more attention, new eyes, people that maybe weren't familiar with Power Rangers in the past. Maybe the idea of how great Dino Fury certainly has been as of lately, the fact that it's really allowed the fans to gravitate towards it, rally around it, show support for the show. I think if more people in the general public and mainstream got the opportunity to see what Power Rangers is doing these days with Dino Fury, I think if anything, it's only going to broaden the fan base even more. I know we're used to having our small group of fans when it comes to Power Rangers. And again, I do think do I think that some fans might fall off? Absolutely. But I do think the move to Netflix is, how do I say this? The gains sort of outweigh the losses. You know what I mean? If we're going to lose Power Ranger fans because of this, okay. It sucks, but okay. You know why? Because when we move over to Netflix, we're probably going to get those fans either back, or we're going to replace those with new fans and even more fans, if you will. Do I think it's going to kill the fan base? No. Do I think some people will fall off? I'm sure, but I don't think it's going to kill the fan base at all. But good question. Good question, Damien. Thank you very much. Power Rangers Legacy. What ranger or character from the past or present would you like to see be more explored, either in the future or in the comic books? I would love to see more about TJ. I really would. I mean, consider the fact that we have ourselves, two back-to-back Black-Red Rangers when it comes to Beast Morphers, along with Dino Fury. If we're going to go back to maybe some past Rangers, I would love to see TJ's past, or just his character, explored a little bit more. So yeah, that's who I would pick. Why do you think Eric is one of the best Six Rangers in history? And do you think if he died just like his Sentai counterpart, he would have made less of an impact on the show, like for Wes, when he was bitter of Wes coming from a wealthy family and grew up poor? Eric for me was always cool because he was such a badass. Eric didn't give a F. Like, he would just put himself into these, like, I don't know. He just had this gravitas about him. Anytime that he was on scene, he was just so serious that I just I absolutely loved his badassery. He just really didn't take shit. You know what I mean? I think for me, that's really what won. Like, for me, that's really what won Eric over for me, was just his level of badassery was just on a completely different level than anybody else I had really seen before him. What did you think of Zenkaiger so far, and how do you feel about seeing two new Rangers on the show? One who is good and one who is evil. Does it feel like the old days of Super Sentai from the 2000s? Well, for me, my old days of Super Sentai just go back to Gokaiger. I haven't really dabbled in older Super Sentai series before Gokaiger. The only other series before Gokaiger that I have dabbled in is Go Ranger and Die Ranger. So before that, I'm not really too familiar. Oh, sorry, my wrist just popped. But I do like it. It does add a ton of intrigue having a good Ranger and an evil Ranger on Zenkaiger, especially just based off of how early into this season that we certainly are. Like, I'm wondering how many other faces are we going to certainly be getting. For me, I think what I enjoy too, though, is that both of these new additions are in fact humans. We do have an entire group for the Zenkaigers that are just robots, with the exception of the one human and Twokaiser. So to be able to have other humans on there, I think is really great, especially in regards to that emotional punch that you need, because of the human aspect of what Stacy and Kaido were going through. I don't think you can kind of get that with the Kikainoids. The same thing with what Zox is going to be introducing with his sister in here, having more human elements added to this group of robots. I think is great, honestly. So I think I definitely do think it's a great addition. So I'm enjoying it so far. Rocky start off. I enjoyed the episodes that we did get, right? They didn't blow me away or anything like that. So I thought they were some pretty good and solid episodes as far as introduction goes. It fell off for me in episode number 6. I was not the biggest fan of it. But it's really just regained its momentum for me after episode 7 in that Zenkai Red special. So I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it overall from what I've seen so far. Real quick, Kamen Rider is in the house. Thank you very much, Kamen Rider. I appreciate it. Doomsday does ask how far into Go Ranger I certainly am. I believe I'm about to be episode 25 or 26, I believe. Let's see here. JB says, what, aka Power Playback? If it does go to Netflix, I hope that it is what most fans want, that Nick is not giving. I don't know how promotion would work because I never really see promotion until I log into Netflix. Yeah, Netflix really isn't the best when it comes to its promotion. Like, sometimes that's the same way that I learn about things that are coming onto Netflix. They do have a just added section or a coming soon section, so you can at least look ahead. They at least put out trailers on at least a regular basis or a heads up before a show comes. So in that regards, Netflix at least does put out posters and trailers and things like that. Whereas, you know, Nickelodeon waits to like, oh, by the way, tomorrow Power Rangers is back, guys. You know, like that last minute sort of thing. So Netflix will at least be much further ahead of promotion, probably teaser trailers, official trailers, and things like that. So I do think that will probably change going forward as well. Let's see here. What are the next couple of questions that we have? Oh, you know what? I meant to go ahead and I didn't even pull this up. I'm sorry. Let's see here. I'm handsome, dude. Would you like to be on the same level as Chris Cantata from YouTube, who has managed to interview a dozen different Ranger actors from different franchises? Did you feel nervous when you interviewed Liana from Beast Morphers, and who do you want to interview in the future? I think everybody would love to be on that same level as Chris Cantata. Am I trying to be like him? Absolutely not. I think we all bring our own flair and creativity to our own channels, right? Clearly, Chris is very big into film and editing and some humor. I don't even know what else Chris does on the side outside of this. Yeah, he's managed to find himself great opportunities and things like that. So yeah, more power to him. So yeah, I think everybody would love to be on the same level, but understand it doesn't mean I want to be anything like Chris. No, I would definitely much rather be my own man in that regards. Did I feel nervous? Yeah, I feel nervous every time I make an interview, even though that they are similar people, just like you and me. I mean, they're definitely people. Just the idea that they're associated with the show that we love and we tend to adore, definitely makes it a little bit more nerve-wracking. Who do I want to interview in the future? As many people as I can get my hands on. Simon Bennett, I definitely would love to interview Russell. I would love to interview Kai. If I can get either Hunter or Tessa on here, that would be pretty cool. I still even want to talk a little bit to Jacqueline Sislowski from Beast Morphers. So yeah, there's a ton I certainly would love to interview for sure. If Q Ranger were adapted into Power Rangers, do you think that it could be good? And if they want to bring back past Rangers or not, they can do it. Hold on, wait, what? If Q Ranger were to be adapted into Power Rangers, do you think it can be good? And if they want to bring back past Rangers or not, they can do what Sentai is doing and make old Rangers be clones or spirits being controlled by monsters and just have the background music playing over like what we have had in Gokaiger and now Zenkaiger. Do I think it would be good? I mean, I do think it's a series worth adapting. My biggest concern has always just been who's going to write it for you. If you're going to bring back the same people that just wrote Dino Charge for you, then absolutely not. Q Ranger, with it having so many Rangers, you need to bring somebody on board that's used to handling a big ensemble cast, that can tell stories for each individual, or at least if not for each individual, how can you keep all these multitude of Rangers important and figure them into the storylines that you have without them getting lost or just turning into really shallow characters with no motivation at all. You know what I mean? If you can find somebody that knows how to work with a multitude of characters, a big cast, then absolutely, I think it could certainly be good. But I do think it'll come down to what the showrunners and writers really truly want for that show. But I would love to see it adapted. Favorite arc from a Ranger that I really enjoyed. I'll do a recent one. I really enjoyed Steele's and Nate's story arc. The idea of a kid and Nate who didn't really have that family camaraderie, always wanted a brother for himself, created this, created Steele and, Homeboy wind up having a personality that was just like a brother for Nate. Just seeing the two of them working alongside one another steals curiosity with everything human, wanting to become a little bit more human in his own regards, and really seeing just him really getting his wish and seeing how all that kind of came together. So yeah, for me, a favorite arc in a more recent season, probably the Nate and Steel stuff for a character arc. I found that stuff really sentimental and really kind of hit home, honestly. This is from AJ. Let's see here. If Power Rangers does move to Netflix, starting with Dino Fury Season 2, do you think that means Power Rangers might continue? And do you think the show itself will start getting loose again? Like even better quality when it comes to storylines and more than 22-minute episodes, especially during crossovers. So, well, I always have thought Power Rangers is going to continue. I've never thought Power Rangers was ever going to end. I feel like they've been very open about the idea that we're going to get a Power Ranger movie, we're going to get a Power Ranger animated series, we're going to get a Power Ranger adult themed TV show or a more mature themed TV show, and the kid TV show seems like it's still going to be there. What format the kid TV show is going to be in, I don't know. Whether or not that means, hey, we're still adapting Power Ranger Super Sentai footage, or if this kid show is just going to start turning into all original footage, that I certainly don't know. I am leaning towards the all original footage for kids, but I can see the kid show continuing to keep its formula, whereas you've got the other shows from Entwistle that'll probably feel significantly different. Like, I'm not expecting Entwistle stuff to have those type of 22-minute episodes or even crossover stuff. I would expect maybe, when it comes to the kid television shows, maybe we expand to an actual 30 minutes, you know what I mean, of actual storytelling with no commercials or whatever the case may be. So I do think there are certain aspects of Power Rangers shows that could stay formulaic, but could also change. I mean, when you're becoming part of a Netflix and you start maybe making your stuff more original, then you can change whatever you want to. More original footage, longer episodes, all the episodes dropping at once. You can keep them week to week, however you certainly prefer. There's really no more handcuffs at that point in time. AJ also says, what do you think of episode 8 of Zenkaiger? And did it feel like an older season of Super Sentai and Power Rangers? For me, it definitely felt like I was watching an old season where we finally have an evil ranger again with Stacasear as an evil purple ranger, and a debut of Twokaiser is a very obvious homage to Gokaiger. I thought episode 8 was great. I thought it was a great culmination of not only learning more about Stacasear, but also ending off the episode with a great sort of debut. I got to learn that whistle that Twokaiser was utilizing, or whatever that's a little theme that he was whistling or saying to himself was. I thought that was pretty catchy. Do you think that by the news of Power Rangers, do you think that by the news of Dino Fury perhaps kickstarting the move of Power Rangers from Nickelodeon, it means Hasbro is listening and wants the franchise to be even better, starting with the TV series? And do you think this move, if comes to fruition, will bring back fans who might have fallen off Power Rangers during the Neil Saban era? Yeah, I do think it probably would bring back some older fans that wouldn't mind giving it a shot. And now that they know that Hasbro has moved it over to Netflix, Nickelodeon has a lot of rules for itself, right? Like, why is the intro only 30 seconds up? Because Nickelodeon prefers it. Who knows? Maybe now we get longer entrances, longer intros with actual more people being able to be highlighted in the intro. I'm sure Netflix will probably still have that skip intro button, which I'll hit most of the time. But I think even little things like that will certainly go a long way. Do I think this means Hasbro is listening and wants the franchise to be better? I've always thought that. I don't think you spend $512 million to just run a franchise through the ground and not do anything with it, right? Hasbro wants to make money. And the idea of utilizing some of their IP the way that they have, including Power Rangers, means that they want Power Rangers to flourish and they want it to be popular. And they think that this is the proper route for it to certainly go. So I do think that they have good intentions with it. Some people may not think so from time to time, but I think a move like this, giving Simon Bennett the reins to go ahead and do Dino Fury to show what he's capable of, moving over to Netflix, becoming part of the, getting involved in the streaming wars and making new content. I think that just screams, hey, Power Ranger fans, we're listening to you. We're trying to give you more content to see hopefully things that you might like. Kids television shows, more adult themed shows, animation, right? I'm sure people that maybe collect the toys, maybe not the biggest fan, right? I've seen some people asking where the Dino Fury toys at, sort of thing. So I'm sure there's always going to be some complainers and some people that feel Hasbro's not doing their best or don't have people's best interests at heart. But I think if people take a step back and look at what Hasbro's truly doing with a lot of their properties and even Power Rangers, I think they're putting Power Rangers in a really great position, a much better position than what it certainly was prior to succeeding and becoming bigger than it ever was. I mean, Power Rangers was not going to move or do anything. I mean, would Power Rangers still get better if it was on Nickelodeon, maybe storyline wise, but when nobody practically watches Nickelodeon, who's there to see the hard work that you're putting in? So I love this move to Netflix. I think this is just going to get people that have fallen off or people that didn't know Power Rangers was still relevant. We'll let them know that, yeah, we're still around. We're still around. There's a couple questions from Johnny Marrero. What's up, Johnny? Your questions. Are you stoked that season 2 of Dino Fury could premiere on Netflix instead of Nickelodeon? Yeah, I'm absolutely stoked. I think this is a brilliant move for the franchise. We've been saying for a while, people have been wanting Power Rangers to become big again, become popular again, to get more eyes on this franchise. And this is the way that you certainly do it. You got to start making moves and changes to where the eyes are at, and the eyes are certainly on Netflix, which is part of the big 3 in streaming services. I don't care what people tell you about Netflix and if they're going to cancel their subscriptions. If you're going to cancel your subscriptions, that's fine, but make no mistake, Netflix is gigantic. And whether or not you're accepting of streaming wars or streaming services being the next big thing, the future is going to pass you by, and it's going to pass Power Rangers by if they don't make any adjustments or do anything to get more eyes in front of them. And when you can attach a Power Rangers show to something like Netflix, that's part of the big 3 out there in regards to the streaming wars, I don't know what else you can certainly ask for. And so I think Hasbro is being very calculated, understanding the risks and the rewards that are certainly coming with all of this. And so I'm really stoked for Dino Fury to certainly move over to Netflix come season 2. I think, again, if there is any hesitancy that I might have and worry, it's really just about getting the news out there to people that this is happening. Who's going to promote it? Hasbro on Twitter, on their other shows. Who knows? I have no idea. Is Netflix going to promote it? I have no idea. But that's really my only concern. Outside of that, I'm super stoked. If Dino Fury Season 2 premieres on Netflix, does it mean no more long hiatuses? I will say this. Is it possible that we still get a hiatus? Yes, it is. When it comes to Dino Fury Season 2, I think because of the fact that those episodes have already been produced and created and made, I would not be surprised if they just drop either all of Season 2 or if they have week to week for Season 2. After that, though, if Power Rangers is still on Netflix after that, does that mean there's no more long hiatuses? Again, Netflix has done this where they'll put part 1 of a season down and they'll wait a couple of months, and then they'll drop the second season. I still think that as a Power Rangers season, I would avoid hiatuses completely. But it really is just going to depend on what their filming is going to be like now that they're going to be making content for Netflix. The formula of the shows could certainly significantly change. We can get 30-minute episodes, perhaps like full length 30-minute episodes, and then maybe they only give us the first 10 in the first half, and then we have a summer break, and then we come back for the fall with the other half type of thing. You know what I mean? So I don't think this means it's out of the picture, but I do think it's probably just at least means that we probably won't get as long of a hiatus as we did when it comes to Nickelodeon, and there's probably a better chance at no hiatus, but there's always that possibility. How do I like Zenkaiger so far? Everybody's so curious about Zenkaiger, it feels like. I feel like are there a lot of people out there that are still hesitant as to whether they should get involved with Zenkaiger or not? Like, for me, listen, the first 5 episodes are solid and enjoyable is what I'll say. I enjoyed the interactions with the characters. I enjoyed some of the characters, some of their own struggles that they personally have to go through. And it's really humorous. If you're into big humorous seasons of Super Sentai, it might be for you. I kind of like mine's a little bit more well balanced. This tends to be more humorous and chaotic at times. So the first 5 episodes feel like a little bit of a slow burn, learning some of these characters and being introduced to these characters. Episode 12 just felt like I don't know what it was. But we've really been picking up momentum the last 2 episodes here, especially with the 2-part miniseries. That's, again, is giving me an influx of enthusiasm for this series to definitely continue along with it. So I haven't minded it. It hasn't hit me like a Karamazor or some of my other favorite Super Sentai seasons as of yet. I've just been kind of going with the flow and enjoying the season as a whole. But to each their own. So if you are interested, I would always recommend definitely go ahead and check it out for yourself if you'd like to. Jessica Friedman from last week, would you like to see one of the Rangers spin-off series get a reboot one day? And would you like to see a new generation of Jungle Fury Rangers mentored by Casey, Lily, and Theo? No, I don't really want reboots. I really don't want reboots of past series. I guess for me, when it comes to that stuff, maybe not live action. Let me just say that. I wouldn't mind seeing things created, but maybe not live action. Maybe give it to me in a comic book form, maybe in an animation form, a small little web series here or there. But as far as like an actual brand new series itself, no, I'm okay with that, Jessica. But that's just me. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to get everybody's questions from the previous week just because. Well, we still have a couple more. My name is Carl. If Q Ranger were to get adapted, do you think we should have better writers who can handle so much Rangers? Yes, absolutely. We know when Dino Supercharged this season failed at handling 10 Rangers because their Sentai counterparts were underused. So Dino Charge had to write off each character. Yeah, it's a struggle. So yeah, that's what my concern definitely is, Carl, for sure. How do you feel of Go Ranger, and what stood out to you? Anything felt weird going in? So going back to Go Ranger, the very first Super Sentai series back in the 70s. So right now I'm into the mid to late 20s of this series. We do reaction videos for our patrons. It is in fact an exclusive only patron reaction that we currently do. But we're up to episode number 27 right now. And I'm enjoying it. When I first went in, a part of me definitely did have to rework my brain a little bit, taking the concepts and ideas of how things are executed now in the 2000s and the 2020s compared to back into the 70s. It was a big reality check for me. So, when it comes to musical themes, character designs, right? Clothing, writing styles, specifically filming styles, right? Maybe more quick edits in Go Rangers, seeing toy figures utilized more because of where special effects were back in the day, right? Like really punched me in the face when I started watching it. Like, wow, I definitely have to rework my brain so I can truly kind of appreciate the show for what it is. And so the first few episodes, first 10 or so episodes, a little bit rocky for me to get through, but this season feels like it's definitely gotten its feet under itself. It's really rounded out. It's the last half of the teens, if you will, going into the 20s really well. It feels like it's kind of like turning a chapter on the book and going into a new phase, if you will. It feels like it's definitely growing, and for that, I'm really having a lot more fun with the season this far around. And the theme is really catchy. I'm still loving the theme with that 70s vibe and everything. There are some characters that are really standing out to me that I've become really big fans of. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. At least compared to where I was like the first 5 or so episodes of the season. It was a little bit tough. Do you think if Kara Major or any other Sentai adapted, we can get a female Red Ranger finally full-time, or an Asian leader, or both female who is Asian? We know that Simon Bennett already did that with Tessa and knows that diversity is important. Following, do you think Power Rangers representing different people is considered woke by some fans, like how the CW does? Man, no. That last question, do you think Power Rangers representing different people is considered woke by some fans? I mean, if people want to put a label on what adding diversity and representation is today, let me remind you, or people out there that have that issue with Power Rangers, we've been doing this for 28 years. Okay. So don't be trying to harp on Power Rangers now for trying to be inclusive and diversity, adding diversity, because we've been doing this for the past 28 years. So if you're just now getting on board, get in the back of the line as far as that goes, because we've been accepting of other people for years. There's nothing new about Power Rangers that's all of a sudden now woke, right? We've been woke since the 90s, guys. Okay, it's just nice to see everybody else now coming on board to realize what Power Rangers has kind of been laying the groundwork like for years. So there's absolutely nothing woke about Power Rangers in that regards. We've been doing that before the term woke even became a thing. So if those people want to complain about Power Rangers being woke, their mindset clearly doesn't understand the importance of what Power Rangers has been doing for years. They certainly need to do a little bit more homework. Do I think Kara Major and the other Sentai adapted, we can get female Red Rangers full-time? When it comes to the adaption side of things, we pulled it off with Tessa. Yes, that's true. We did pull it off with Tessa. Well, look, my answer, Carl, just to be 100% honest, I don't think we're getting Super Sentai adaptions any further. So I do think going forward, yeah, they absolutely could make a female Red Ranger. I've already been on the record saying Jonathan Entwistle is going to give us a female Red Ranger. So I think Jonathan has that lane already covered for us. If Hasbro does decide to go ahead and continue to do Super Sentai footage, it wouldn't surprise me if Red does not become a female. I think if Jonathan Entwistle takes care of that in his Power Rangers, I don't think they're even going to necessarily worry about that when it comes to Power Rangers adaption. I think when it comes to if they continue to adapt, I think they'll keep doing what they've been doing all this time and not give us a female Red Ranger. I think that maybe they'll give us female Red Rangers in other, female Rangers other ways. But no, I think that's something that Jonathan Entwistle is probably going to be working towards. Let's see here. Jessica Fryman does ask, with Power Rangers Dino Fury moving to Netflix, do you think the rest of Ranger series will come back to Netflix? And would you like to see the new Ranger movie in 3D? 3D. I haven't watched a 3D movie in forever, Jessica. If it's available in 3D, yeah, I would watch it. I would probably watch it for sure. I know it's not for everybody. For me, I don't mind 3D movies. The only way I would watch a Power Rangers 3D movie, though, is if it was filmed with that technology. I don't want this post-added 3D effect. No. If you're going to make a Power Ranger movie, commit to doing it in 3D, then I'll watch it. But if it's not filmed that way, then no, I probably won't watch it. Do I think the other Ranger series will come back to Netflix? No, I think Hasbro's made the decision on leaving that on their YouTube page. Again, I think that it probably brings in more revenue for them anyway, probably more than what they were certainly making over at Netflix with their licensing agreement. And I also think for Netflix, they probably weren't maybe even getting the viewership that they needed to warrant them paying for that licensing agreement in the first place. So I think this is probably better for Hasbro overall to post their stuff on YouTube. So no, I don't think that's coming back to YouTube. If anything, more current seasons of Power Rangers will certainly stay there. Probably the Jonathan Entwistle stuff, and then whatever original kid series stuff that they're certainly working on will probably stick around as well. But I think other than that, guys, I think that's probably going to do it for all of our questions that we have here for you guys in our email. So thank you very much for everybody that certainly posted the questions. And if anything, we'll probably round up this episode with taking just some of the last couple of comments here from you guys. So let's see here what we got. Maurice, what's up, Maurice? Appreciate you coming through. He says, I have mixed feelings about Dino Fury. Is that mixed feelings in regards to this season as a whole, or the idea of the move from Netflix, from Nickelodeon to Netflix? I'm kind of curious to know what you mean. Kamen Rider says, do you think Dino Fury coming to Netflix could lead to the other series returning to Netflix? Yeah, we just talked about that. No, I don't believe so. MDP official, what's up? Appreciate you coming through, MDP. When's Dino Fury airing again? What, probably not till August, September, guys? Is that probably what you guys are thinking? I feel like it usually drops like August, September, so probably around there. You sigh, going to our Twokaiser. Twokaiser's that damn dude. Yeah, I need to learn his moves. I really do. Power playback. Do Netflix themselves have any shows that is fully 30 minutes or even 1 hour long? I mean, maybe not on the dot. I've definitely have seen some shows in between, maybe like the 25 to 30 minute mark. I've seen some episodes that are maybe like 45 minutes to 50. I have seen some longer episodes that are like an hour and 10, hour and 15, or it just really just depends on the type of episode that you're telling, right? Like when you look at Disney Plus, and like Falcon and Winter Soldier, or even WandaVision, right? Like all of their shows, all their episodes are like different lengths of time. So it really, I think it's just going to depend on what type of story you're telling. But I do think that this will allow Power Rangers in the future, if they wanted to avoid or escape just that 30-minute time period, or, you know, the constraints that Nickelodeon had on them, this gives them a ton more freedom. What's up, Trent? I think the new non-kid Power Ranger series will have less episodes and more minutes per episode, like Marvel and WandaVision. Yeah, I would definitely agree with you in that regards. And I think the announcement from Hasbro about the TV show and film on the platform is probably the thing Chance revealed in the interview with Dino Fury Season 2 coming to Netflix. Yeah, that's exactly what we talked about. It's like, I wouldn't have been surprised if what Brian Goldner was talking about backs up what Chance Perez said. He probably wasn't supposed to say it, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't true. You know what I mean? And so I'm very much under the impression that Chance Perez knows exactly what's going down and he let it slip. Doesn't mean that Simon Bennett and Hasbro wanted him to say it or talk about it, right? Because even Simon Bennett's like, even if I did know, I wouldn't say anything. You know what I mean? Because he probably wasn't supposed to. But I do think very much it is real. Yusai says, chances of a 7th Zenkaiger under or over 40%. Of a 7th Zenkaiger under or over 40%. That is a high percentage. You know what? We're 8 episodes in. I'm going to say over. I think Zenkaiger's got another surprise for us. I'm going to say over. Kamen Rider says, This is very surprising. The first season to go on hiatus before revealing the Sixth Stranger. I'm so glad that they did too. I think momentum wise, I think it just benefits your second half of your season of Dino Fury, because now people are gonna want to come back to see the debut of the Sixth Stranger and see his sort of immediate impact, right? I mean, I also get the idea of revealing it at the end of the first half of the first season, in episode 8 or 9. But for me, I think from a business standpoint, from a fan's enthusiasm standpoint, don't give them everything right off the bat. Hold off on that debut until we come back and give people a reason to have to want to come back and actually watch it. Marcelino, he is asking me to answer the questions I sent from last week. Let me see if I can find them real quick, Marcelino. I got you covered. Hold on a second here. Okay, there we go. What kind of content are you going to make until Dino Fury comes back? I probably will be doing I have been thinking about doing a first half review for Dino Fury. I've also considered doing that review might consist of, or I might do a completely different video for best of so far when it comes to Dino Fury, because I would like to take some of those best ofs so far with like each half of the seasons and do maybe like a mini award show at the end of Dino Fury season 2. So I have like nominees, if you will. So I may do best of a Dino Fury so far as well. I have been writing down maybe doing a top 5 morphine sequence video as well. So we'll definitely have other content for you guys. I mean, we'll continue to clearly do our weekly APlus Morphinominal stuff for you guys. Breaking down all the news from Power Ranger news or Tokusatsu. So we'll definitely do that along with some of our Boom Studios reviews. So we'll definitely make sure we'll have some new content for you guys. Thursdays, if anything, maybe I'll start trying to do some old videos from our previous channel for like Throwback Thursdays. Always something that we can certainly look into. What else? Definitely some interviews. I've got some questions I'm trying to put together for Simon Bennett right now to see if maybe I can get another interview. So we'll see. We definitely have a ton of new projects that we're going to be working on. Assuming the rumors were true and the production did go this route, how would you have felt if Billy or Jason came back for Dino Thunder playing the villain Zaltrax? Would it have been a disrespect to the characters, or would it have been a great idea giving nuance to the characters? I don't think anything is like disrespectful in that sense. I just think really just kind of all comes down to the storyline that you would want to go. If it makes sense for the characters, then go ahead and pull the trigger. But I probably wouldn't have felt a certain type of way about it. Considering just with Dino Thunder as a whole and having the return of Tommy, a possible return of Jason or Billy coming back as a villain, I would have been open to that idea as long as it was executed correctly. Let's see here. I was also going to tell you this later, but Amit Bomik had a rough draft idea for Go Busters if it was chosen over Dino Thunder. It was called Power Rangers Cybercore. If it had a lot of similarity plot threads from Go Busters, while it does have similarities to Beast Morphers, it also has a lot of differences as well. I will send the link after you finish reading the Abandoned Samurai rough draft. I don't want to get any spoilers because I think you should experience it for yourself firsthand. But I will say it was if this was chosen over Beast Morphers, this would have been a sequel to RPM, Lost Galaxy, and Zeo. Well, I will say this: I am, feel free to send me the draft if you want to. I mean, I did feel like Beast Morphers was already kind of a quasi sequel to RPM, so I am glad that that adaptation probably would have harkened to some ideas similar as well. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, like for me, I still find it amazing that Chip Lynn had this Go Busters story that he was sitting on for several years, and the opportunity just happened to strike that they actually were going to go back and utilize Go Busters, and so he's like, I got some ideas already, guys. Let's go ahead and put this into motion. So it definitely feels like Chip Lynn certainly had a passion for wanting to do this. So to even have a story ready, I think is a pretty incredible Chip Lynn story that Simon Bennett has told in the past. So that's where the story for Go Busters certainly comes from. But yeah, definitely go ahead and shoot me that rough draft sometime, Marcelino. But thank you very much for your questions. Kamen Rider says, what are the chances of Shout Factory releasing Abba Ranger and Onward onto DVD? I think they'll probably still do it. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure what if there's a contract between Shout Factory. I don't know how that works out when it comes to Shout Factory releases, guys, unfortunately. So I probably can't give you the best educated guess in regards to that Kamen Rider. Trent says, I could imagine that the animation series of Power Rangers could stay on Nickelodeon. They could continue to promote toys there just with animation series. Possibility also, right? Transformers, I think, is just revealing a brand new animated series on Nickelodeon as well. So it's definitely up for an option, Trent. I wouldn't call that out of the realm of possibility at all. And then last comment here from Trent says, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I'm excited for Liana's acting career. I want to know so bad what her next projects are. She is amazing. Roxy forever. Yeah, we definitely do love Liana Ramirez around here, especially this idea that she took time out of her day to go ahead and have an interview with us and seemingly really enjoyed herself also. We tried to do our best to promote her book around here when she was here as well. She's a full-fledged writer now, actress as well. Yeah, she's extremely talented. So if there is anybody that, especially coming out of Beast Morphers, that I think is going to have a great career, not only the gentleman that played Nate, but also I think maybe Jacqueline will probably have a great career along with Liana as well. So some great stuff. All right, guys. Other than that, I think that's going to go ahead and do it for us here today. So thank you very much for definitely joining us. Again, at the end of the day, guys, these are just simply our A+ opinions. We certainly want to know your thoughts. What do you think about the Dino Fury moving to Nickelodeon or Dino Fury moving to Netflix for season 2? What are some of your thoughts? What do you think about some of the other articles we talked about? Definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts. We certainly will be back later on this week for you guys. You know how we love to do around here for Toku Tuesdays. We've got our reaction videos, our reviews coming from Zenkaiger along with Kamen Rider Saber and any other additional videos that we wind up posting throughout the week, along with us coming live every Saturday, as always, at noon Central Time. So we'll definitely see you guys next weekend. But if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel as of yet, do yourselves a big favor, hit that subscribe button along with that bell notification. So when we do drop brand new videos or even go live, you will certainly be notified. If you continue to love our content and you want to see more, hit that big thumbs up, hit that like button. It does definitely go a long way. And if you want to follow us on social media, you can definitely do so here at A+ Opinions. Again, very active over on our Twitter account, along with our main Facebook page. You can catch us over on Instagram as well as Twitch for you gamers as well. But until next time, guys, do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.